Alrighty, welcome back everybody to our latest live stream. I hope everybody's having a good evening so far. Obviously, it's been pretty active here across the southern plains for the last several hours. We've had a lot of severe weather ranging from very large hail. We actually had upwards of tennis ball sized hail over in Lubbock, Texas about an hour ago or so. There was a reported water spout just near the area of Lubbock too. I think that was a typo. There was likely a land spout or something like that. But that also happened over there in West Texas earlier. We've had a lot of damaging winds, and severe weather is beginning to ramp up again. We had a little bit of a lull over the last hour. We haven't seen a whole lot of activity, but it is beginning to ramp up again, and now it's across North Texas, where we are beginning to notice an organization of a line of storms. That's the big concern over the next several minutes, and really over the next couple hours. We're going to be watching for a line of storms to build, producing the threat for some significant damaging winds, perhaps some sporadic hail. I don't think we're going to see too much large hail, though, out of this activity. There also might be a brief tornado, so there's a lot of different things to watch out for. We have a live cam right now near Denton, Texas. There is currently a shelf cloud that is rolling through Denton County. This is in Lantana, which is just southeast of Denton. We'll have a view of that here in just a moment, and we'll go full screen to that shelf cloud. You actually can kind of see it in the background there. That's also going to be shown here in just a second, but we want to get first to the new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued. This is in Denton County, as well as Collin County, Cook County, and Grayson County. All these areas included in a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, and as well as quarter-sized hail. One thing I want to point out, it doesn't seem too significant right now, but I do think that damaging wind threat will increase a bit more over the next couple hours, especially near the DFW Metroplex, as this line of storms becomes a bit more organized. Further off to the north and east, we have another severe thunderstorm warning as well. This is north of Bonham, so this is going to be for golf ball, or actually up to ping pong ball sized hail, and as well as 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. Luckily, this part of the county here, so just north of Bonham, it's pretty rural, so we're not looking at really any populated areas. But if you are in Paris, Texas, I know a lot of you that follow North Texas Weather Center, at least on Facebook, are from the Paris, Texas area. So if you're over in Paris, Texas, you're going to be wanting to monitor this storm very closely, because this will be making a beeline off to the east toward your location with ping pong ball sized hail, and as well 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. When we zoom out a bit more, notice the storm activity. This spans across Oklahoma and a large chunk of Texas. One thing I want to point out is that we have a lot of flash flood warnings. We're actually going to see the threat for flooding across parts of North Texas tonight because of how much rain we're seeing. And as I say that, we actually have a new flash flood warning now for those just south of Durant, Oklahoma. So again, this is going to really ramp up over the next few hours, is the flash flooding threat, because we have so much water vapor across this area. Lots of rainfall, very widespread rain, even across Oklahoma. There's even a severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, up near Tulsa. We actually have some damage, multiple tree limbs broken up there. But that's the story, basically, is that we're going to be seeing lots of rain. It's not just the severe weather, because once these severe storms roll through, it's going to start to transition a bit more into a flooding concern. We're going to see upwards of 3 to 5 inches of rain in scattered locations. Isolated locations could get as high as 8 inches of rain. That best chance, by the way, for up to 8 inches would be in northeast Texas, so back over near the Texarkana region. So again, it's going to be very active over the next few hours, and we're going to definitely see a lot more severe weather, especially with the activity that we're already seeing here across parts of North Texas. Let's check out the velocities here on the storm, and you actually will notice this is the short range of velocity. So near Sanger right now, we actually have the highest wind speeds there, currently estimated by radar upwards of about 65 miles per hour. So on the northern side of Denton County, as well as on the southern side of Cook County, we are seeing damaging winds now exceeding 60 miles per hour. We also have a hail core, by the way, that is located near Valley View. So if you're in that area, definitely make sure you're staying away from windows. Here's the more long-range radar. So this is the normal DFW radar site, not the airport. Notice right here, that's your wind area right there. So that's me near Valley View, and it's going to be approaching Hemming, Lewis, and eventually going toward Tioga over the next several minutes. Let's go full cam here. This is going to be Denton. Notice in the background there, you can kind of see that shelf cloud. We'll have a better view of it probably in about 5 minutes. One thing to note is that sunset is happening right now. So we're not really going to have the best view on that live cam after this. One thing that'll be kind of cool, though, once the sun does set, is we'll probably see a lot of lightning. This camera, by the way, is looking north, and it's going to be located, for those that are not familiar with this area, it's located right about here. It's a little bit south of there. It's actually down here near Flower Mound, but we're looking north. Here's your shelf cloud right here. You can actually see it on radar. That's your outflow boundary, essentially spawning off more storm activity. And also, that's producing gusty winds, so just keep that in mind. If you're in, like, Denton, for example, or Flower Mound, you'll probably at least see some gusty winds out of this, but this is still a good 5 to 10 miles away. Let's go and put the measurement on here. About 15 miles just off to the west here of Lantana. So it's still about 15 miles out. It'll probably arrive in the next 5 to 10 minutes with how fast these things move. But we'll be able to see that shelf cloud. That's also going to be, again, producing some gusty winds there. This storm in particular, though, is producing a lot of frequent lightning right now. And near 51 in Roston, near Interstate 35, there is a boatload of lightning with this particular storm. And it's really intense. And a lot of these storms, again, that'll be developing over the next hour or so will likely be pretty intense. We have a good amount of instability across North Texas. It's been quite sunny across North Texas most of today, so that should at least lead to potentially a little bit of severe weather across the DFW Metroplex. And for those in Fort Worth, Dallas, south of here, the Storm Prediction Center not too long ago just made a post, basically a mesoscale discussion discussing the potential for a new watch. There will likely be a new severe thunderstorm watch across this region here. So it might include Waco, to be determined, but it will probably at least include Fort Worth and Dallas. That is an 80% chance of being issued within the next couple of hours. So again, there will likely be a severe thunderstorm watch issued for those areas down the road. But overall, the main concern tonight, again, is damaging winds and as well as maybe some large hail, but I do think damaging winds will be our main concern. And here's the risk for today, in case you have not already heard. Again, there is an enhanced risk of severe weather. It does cut off in the DFW Metroplex. If you're in Dallas, Plano, or back near Fort Worth, there is a slight risk of severe weather in those locations, but I would still treat it as like an enhanced risk. I do think we'll see some damaging winds in those areas. Enhanced risk, though, is primarily for those in Oklahoma, and as well as the Texas Panhandle and Northwest Texas, but most of these areas are already done with severe weather. Most of that activity's already happened. There will be more severe weather activity near the DFW Metroplex. The next Storm Prediction Center update is going to be in about 35 minutes, so there will likely be some sort of update to that. Whether this enhanced risk gets downgraded to slight, we'll kind of wait and see, but at the bare minimum, we are going to be watching for at least some scattered damaging winds here across the DFW Metroplex. Here's your tornado risk tonight. Again, I'm not very concerned about tornadoes, but there might be a brief tornado out of one of these storms. Notice that risk goes all the way across North Texas, really cuts off just south of Fort Worth, so just south of Cleburne, near Interstate 35, where E and W basically intersect. That is where that tornado risk really cuts off. It's not really a high tornado risk by any means. It's on the lowest end that it really can be, other than it being 0%. So overall, fairly low tornado risk tonight. But obviously, the more concerning feature with all these storms is the damaging wind threat. And we are seeing that right now in northern Denton County. So we'll be watching that very closely over the next several minutes. If you have any questions, by the way, you can feel free to leave those in the chat. I am, by the way, taking photos. You can email me or you can send them into Facebook. All those links are in the description below. Facebook is really the preferable option. If you have videos, email is way better because I can't really do it. I can't really show it on the live stream if you send it through Facebook. So again, that's what we got going right now. But let me show you some of the photos that we do have coming out of these storms. Again, bottom right of your screen, that is in Denton County. The shelf cloud is approaching. I know we have a lot of people that are from the Denton County area. Again, that shelf cloud's rolling through. The shelf cloud's going to look scary. Again, it's not like a tornadic sort of activity when you see a shelf cloud. A lot of people confuse shelf clouds and wall clouds are not the same exact thing. So I just want to kind of throw that out there. Let me see what photos we got here. We got a few photos. So this is out of Denton County. This is near Denton. Specifically, this is about 10 to 15 minutes ago. Again, notice the shelf cloud here in the background. That is your shelf cloud. Again, you might confuse it for a wall cloud. It's not a wall cloud. That's a shelf cloud. It produces more of a damaging or gusty wind, I would say, threat more than anything. But again, that was out of the Lantana area. Let me go over to here. Here's another photo. This is actually out of Snyder, Texas. This is a pretty crazy photo we had sent in. This is over in Snyder. So again, pretty crazy clouds here. You kind of see the bright blue in the background. That's kind of just because of the reflection of the water droplets there. Sometimes it can be lightning, but that's likely not lightning. It's more the reflection of the water droplets. So again, another cool photo there. We got a lot of interesting photos, to say the least, out of these areas. This is one of the more crazy ones that we had. This is a perfect timing photo. Lightning strike near Sherman, Texas. This is about an hour ago now, but that was a lightning strike that was caught on camera right there in front of our eyes over in Sherman, Texas. That was from Miranda Parker. And also, this is the hail, by the way, over in Lubbock earlier. So again, we had upwards of tennis ball sized hail over in Lubbock. That was from Haley Stout. And I think that's the main photos. We also had this photo from earlier. I did post this one on Twitter. This is one of the cooler photos I've seen all day. Pretty underrated photo, to be honest with you. This one is really, really cool. It's a really horizontal photo, so you're going to kind of see, it's kind of like, stretched out, but this is a storm right here. This is over in Henrietta, Texas. This is near Wichita Falls. Again, notice the shelf cloud here. It is unbelievably defined. Really impressive storm structure back over there in Henrietta. That storm in particular was producing damaging winds at the time, but other than that, it wasn't anything too crazy. Here's a live cam view, by the way, out of Denton. In the background there, you can kind of see the shelf cloud. Again, that'll be approaching over the next several minutes. We have a little weird reflection there. I'm not sure if that's going to stay there. But there is a little weird reflection in the middle of the screen. And that's a live cam out of Lantana, Texas. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. Severe thunderstorm warning, again, is still ongoing for those in Gainesville, near Sherman, Denton County, as well as northwest Collin County. This is mainly for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. Shelf cloud right now is moving over Denton. So, I know we have a lot of viewers out of the Denton area. This is currently rolling over Denton, Texas. That shelf cloud. And just north of there, our hail core is actually crossing right over Interstate 35. So if you're near Sanger, Texas, that is what's happening there right now. All right. Let me get to chat. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome on in. How's it going, Brock? I'm east of Aubrey. Yeah, Aubrey's gonna be under the gun for this storm, even on the east side near Salina. Getting slammed with wind in North Denton. A couple trees barely hanging on. Yeah, the wind is gonna be pretty high out of this. Let's go to the close range radar site here. Let's go to this. Yeah, actually notice here, again, all these bright colors that you're seeing here, like the bright blues, that's representing around 50 to 60 mile per hour winds, upwards of 65 perhaps as well. And this is the leading edge. Again, that's your shelf cloud right here. Let me get the actual pen here. This is the shelf cloud, though. It's right here. So we're going to see that wind, really more gusty winds more than anything on that leading edge, and then more of the embedded downburst winds inside the storm near Sanger. And those are the ones that will be upwards of 60 miles per hour, perhaps even a bit higher. So that's what we're looking at there. And again, this is more of a zoomed out look here, but this is the close range radar site. Really useful radar site here when these storms are in the DFW area. This one updates right about every minute. Yeah, this one updates about every minute, minute and a half at most. So pretty useful radar site when you're looking close range and you can see where that storm is. Again, this would be right in here where the highest winds are. But we have that shelf cloud again extending down to the south. That's also going to be producing some gusty winds out of that. So that's what we're looking at there. Thank you, Maximus, for the 199. Do you think Burleson will see a shelf cloud? You probably will. It's going to probably be hard to see, though, with how the sun's already setting. That would be the only issue, I'd say, for your viewing experience, in my opinion, would probably be that, again, you'll have some issues seeing it because of how dark it is outside. But there will likely be a lot of lightning. Again, we have a highly electrified storms. The storm that's north of Bonham is more electrified, I would say, than the one near Denton right now. The one near Denton is losing some of its punch, I should say, with the lightning. Let me check out lightning maps here and see how much lightning we have on each of these storms. But you can see, again, this is on Radar Omega. You can see in the just north of Bonham, that's where we're seeing a ton of lightning. That one's more frequent than the one in Denton. So the one over in Bonham is producing, I think this is way overestimated. Let me change this. Trying to get an accurate representation here. Lightningmaps.org says about 183 strikes per minute on this storm near Bonham. I think that's overestimated, but it wouldn't surprise me. North of Denton, that storm is producing approximately one lightning strike every 3 seconds, every 2 to 3 seconds. So again, frequent lightning is happening with these storms. That's going to be cloud to ground lightning too, some of it at least. So that's obviously a concern. Make sure you're not outside. One of the biggest things I cannot stress enough to you is that make sure you're indoors while these storms are nearby, because lightning can strike upwards of 15 miles away and it can still strike the ground. So you definitely want to make sure that you're staying indoors. But the main concern with this storm right now is the lightning and as well as the damaging wind factor upwards of 60 miles per hour. Again, we have a hail core that's over Sanger right now. And that in particular is also going to be something to watch out for as it approaches Pilot Point, with the threat for some quarter-sized hail. And also, again, if you have any photos, you can send them in to us on Facebook at North Texas Weather Center. Links to that are in the description below. We will be checking a lot of those out throughout the stream. Valley View is getting bashed around. Lightning is insane. Good rain, though. Yeah, the rain's the best thing about this. Let me go to the, let's go to the computer models real quick, since we have a second. Go to the rainfall totals. Might take me a second to find. I think it's down here. freezing rain. We're not getting freezing rain. Where's the total amount of rain? Oh, is it down here? It's not down here. Am I blind? Well, where's the total rainfall? Total precipitation. That's where it was. Here's the total precipitation for the next 18 hours or so. So notice the highest rainfall totals. Again, this is between about now until later tonight. This red area here is representing a lot more rainfall than any elsewhere, basically. Here are the rainfall totals that are being estimated by the HRR model, which tends to be quite accurate. Notice we're looking at a widespread area here between 2 to 5 inches of rain in northeast Texas. That's a lot of rain, and then we actually could see some flooding out of this. We've already had flash flood warnings in effect for a few different areas. Additional rainfall, though, could even reach as high as 8 inches of rain. It would be very isolated, though, if you saw 8 inches of rain. Back near DFW, anywhere in the DFW Metroplex, will range really from about 1 inch to 3 inches. So if you're in the DFW area, you're almost guaranteed to see at least 1 inch of rain, but again, you might not see 1 inch. It just depends on your luck, really. Some people have been very unlucky recently with the total amount of rainfall. West of DFW, it's a lower chance of seeing really substantial rainfall, but there will at least be some rainfall. I think most of North Texas, though, tonight will see rain. Really cool feature right now on the radar, again, is the shelf cloud. Look at the shelf cloud. You can see it perfectly on radar, all the way from Mineral Wells back through Denton. It's really impressive. That's your outflow boundary. This is the live view of it here. That's your shelf cloud. That's live out of Lantana, Texas. You can see the lightning in the background, too. See it in the distance. Again, we'll go back to that here in a minute. It is nighttime, so it might be a little bit harder to see. We'll keep it on this for now, but we'll go full screen once it's a little bit closer. Again, that's in Lantana, Texas, and Lantana is right around Highland Village and Flower Mound, so we're still about 5 miles-ish away from this shelf cloud, so we should see it a little bit better in about a minute or two. Again, the shelf cloud's moving about 50 miles per hour or so. Is there any rotation with this yet? Not really any rotation. Again, I don't think we're going to have much of a tornado risk, especially out of these storms, since they are outflow driven. They struggle a lot more to produce tornado risk at all. I mean, it's much more difficult with this kind of activity. Again, because it's outflow driven. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult, I would say, for a tornado. But again, I wouldn't rule out a brief tornado. I think more than anything, we're looking at significant damaging winds. All right, new update. We do have a new severe thunderstorm watch that has just been issued for at least a portion of North Texas until 2 a.m. I'm guessing that's anywhere from DFW and southward. So we just had a new severe thunderstorm watch that was just issued. And again, I will have more details on this briefly, or in a moment, I should say. There is a new severe thunderstorm watch, though, that was just issued. Here's a better look here at the shelf cloud. Look at all the lightning in the background. I'm going to try to make this a little bit larger. I'm going to go ahead and do that so you can see it a little bit better. And once it actually approaches, I'll go ahead and make it more full screen. Again, that is in Denton County. That's your shelf cloud. It is almost pitch black now because the sun is set. Yeah, I'm trying to see if we have more details on this new severe thunderstorm watch. Again, I believe this is going to be for those in DFW and southward. And by the way, in today's live stream, we are using Radar Omega. That's the software that we're using on your iOS and Android device. It's the best weather radar on the market. You can check it out on the iOS and Android store for $8.99. It's the top link in the description below. Check it out at Radar Omega. Again, you have all the computer models, the radar, the satellite, warnings, reports, and all that sort of stuff. Check it out, top link in the description below. Let me go ahead and check out. I'm trying to see if we can get more details on this watch. Again, I don't have any other details yet. This was issued about 3 minutes ago. Again, it might not be coming through for at least a minute or two, though. But again, I believe this is going to be for those in DFW and southward. The severe thunderstorm watch up here only goes for another 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It goes until 10 o'clock. So. Yep, it's DFW, or Southern DFW Metro. Yeah, I mean, that's my presumption. I don't think they're going to issue a new one, or at least, yeah, they probably wouldn't issue a new one for the Denton County area. If they issued a new one, it would, I mean, if they did issue a new one, like, down the road, it would probably be an extension of the watch that's ongoing. Here's that storm, by the way, just north of Denton. Again, this one is still producing damaging winds around 60 miles per hour, and as well as quarter-sized hail, and it is, again, tracking out to the east right now. A little bit further up to the north, we have another storm. Again, ping-pong ball-sized hail is going to be heading toward Paris, Texas. If you are in Paris, Texas, definitely make sure you have your car protected, but also make sure you have any loose, long items inside. Let me go over to this. By the way, the trampoline meter today is at a medium risk. Initially today it was at a high risk, mainly for the stuff that we're looking at in Northwest Texas. It is now down to a medium risk. So this will be your new tossing trampoline meter for today. Today's Wacky Weather Wednesday. We're not even on tossing trampolines on Tall Trees Thursday. So we do have a medium risk of flying trampolines today. Or for the rest of today, I should say. We've already had our high risk back over Northwest North Texas. The highest wind gust, by the way, so far today was in Frederick, Oklahoma. That was at 85 miles per hour. So that did happen up there. All right, let's go a little bit more full cam here. This is, again, the live view out of Lantana, Texas. Yeah, it's kind of hard to pick out where the shell cloud exactly is, but it is nighttime now. At least got some bright lights because of all the light pollution across Denton County. That kind of helps to see what the clouds look like there. And also the lightning in the background will eventually help as these storms do approach. The wind's picking up there on the right side of your screen too. You can see the tree at the bottom right. That is also showing the wind's picking up at least a little bit. But there is a lot of frequent lightning out of the storm in northern Denton County, that's for sure. All right, here's your new severe thunderstorm watch. Yeah, this includes basically all of DFW. A large chunk of North Texas. This one will go all the way until 2 a.m. Central Time, mainly for damaging winds and hail. The exact wording is that scattered large hail and isolated very large hail up to 2 inches in diameter is possible. Scattered damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour is also possible. And a tornado or two will also remain possible. So again, new severe thunderstorm watch issued for a large chunk of North Texas all the way up until 2 a.m. tonight. And that does include DFW. Here's a zoomed out look. If you need to take a screenshot, go for it. That's also not going to include Waco, by the way. So Waco, Texas is not included. Again, that's the latest update. I'm just posting this to Facebook real quick. So they actually worded it as if there might be a tornado or two. Again, I think the tornado risk does stay very low tonight, even though they're mentioning a tornado or two are possible. They're definitely possible, but I would definitely say that the risk is pretty low tonight. I don't think we're really going to see a whole lot in terms of tornadic activity. The only way that we'd see a really any sort of tornadoes would be if this line of storms becomes really organized and we start to see maybe a little QLCS situation happen. And I'm going to kind of show you what that looks like. So on Radar Omega, you can look at the different computer models. We're going to look at the HRR model here, and we're going to show you what we're actually kind of talking about here. So let me go to the, I think the 22, let me check the 23Z and see if it's still showing this real quick. Yeah, it's showing. All right, here's the latest future radar. So we're currently about 8 o'clock, so this is what it shows as of 8 o'clock, and you'll notice it's a little bit behind on where the storms are, but this is by 8 o'clock. Again, notice the storms are not really organized here, right? Let me take this down a little bit so you can see it better. But you'll notice, again, the storms aren't very organized here by 8 o'clock. They're still pretty disorganized. We have that outflow boundary, etc. By 9 o'clock, the storms do become a bit more organized. This is actually by 10. So by 9 to 10 o'clock, we'll eventually see more of a line of storms become a bit more organized, but it's not going to be really tight and all basically uniform. We're not really looking at that in terms of this area of storms yet. It'd still be more of a clustered area of storms. So we're really not looking at a line at this point. But by 11, notice what the HR model is kind of showing here. There is a chance that this becomes more organized and more uniform to the point where we actually could see more of a elongated area of this line of storms, and this could produce some scattered damaging winds. And if this becomes organized enough, we actually could maybe see a QLCS situation happen with this, producing maybe an isolated tornado or two. So that'll be something to watch for long term. By 12 o'clock, these storms are moving through southern and eastern North Texas. By 1 to 2 in the morning, the storms will be moving through Waco. And by this point, the severe weather should be much lower by then. Might still have some damaging winds, but overall the threat would be way lower. So that's overall what we're looking at in terms of timing. But again, I think the worst of the severe weather will probably happen around 10 to 11 o'clock tonight, is my guess. It might happen a little bit earlier. I think the HR model is a little bit behind on the timing by maybe an hour. So give or take about an hour on that time frame. We might even see the worst of it happen between 9 and 10. But we are already seeing some pretty significant severe weather. And the storms that are back out here west of DFW, honestly, are more concerning to me because I think these could evolve a bit more as they move closer to the DFW Metroplex. So that'll be something to watch for, at least in the long term. All right, let me put this a bit more wide view. Again, that is in Lantana, Texas, at the bottom right of your screen. That's a live cam view of this severe storm that is producing, again, quarter-sized hail and 60 mile per hour damaging winds right now. There are a ton of flood warnings. I know there are a lot of flood warnings. And another thing I want to throw out here is that we're probably going to see a lot of flood warnings tonight. And it might even include DFW. I wouldn't rule it out. The reason why is because we're going to see a lot of rain in a very short amount of time. You're not really going to have a whole lot of time to even think about how much rain's falling because it's going to fall pretty quickly with this line of storms. For example, look back up here in Oklahoma. We have rain galore that has been falling for hours. This has been falling literally for hours. Near like Ada, for example, and Ardmore, we have flash flood warnings there. And those could even fall into parts of North and Northeast Texas. So if you're in those areas, definitely be mindful. We very well could see some flood warnings in North Texas tonight because we might see upwards of 2 to 4 inches of rain in some areas. I wouldn't even rule out upwards of 5 to 6 inches of rain. It's, again, not out of the question with this sort of environment across North Texas that we start to see some higher rainfall totals, and that will really come into play, I'd say, probably in an hour or two. The storm, by the way, in Denton County has been intensifying a bit. We are beginning to see a more noticeable hail core, and that is over Aubrey. So we might be seeing a bit of an increase of action here over Pilot Point, Aubrey, with the hail core beginning to ramp up a bit. So again, this is currently over in Aubrey, Texas, and Pilot Point. We're starting to see a bit of a hail core. Let me go to the correlation coefficient. And yeah, it's actually showing up. So that's a pretty nasty hail core over Pilot Point. I'm going to see if we have any reports of anything coming in here. I also have to check out Facebook. I haven't looked at that in a second. A half-inch hail was reported over in the Era area, so back over near Valley View. But again, we are beginning to notice an increase of activity here on this storm near Pilot Point. There is definitely a hail core forming here. Yeah, again, this is a hail core. So if you're in Pilot Point, hail is likely to be pretty large out of this as it goes towards Salina and Prosper. See if we have any reports of this. We don't have any reports in this particular location yet. All right, that's posted. Take a screenshot of this real quick. Yeah, this is near Pilot Point. If you're in the Pilot Point area, this is going to say, by the way, north of Denton. Here's the loop here. So again, it's going to be going toward McKinney. But this in particular, again, we'll be moving toward McKinney and the Fairview area. There is definitely a chance that the hail could get kind of large out of this. We could see it upwards of, again, perhaps even, $50, maybe even upwards of golf ball sized hail. It wouldn't be out of the question with this sort of environment. With this sort of discrete cell, too. That's one of the biggest concerns, too. We've had a lot of hail this year in North Texas, and it seems like we're going to have another pretty decent hailstorm going toward northwest Collin County. Did we just have a tornado north of Dallas? I don't think we've had a tornado. Yeah, that's Denton County at the bottom, or in Denton County at the bottom right of your screen. This is looking north, so you can kind of see the storm there in the background. Pretty good live cam shot there. It's looking north. You can see the lightning in the background, and that's in Lantana, Texas. For perspective, that's right about here. So again, we're looking about 15 miles to the north from this live cam at the bottom right, but it at least gives you an idea of what we're seeing out there. And here's the latest radar scan here. So it looks like it might be falling apart just a little bit here in terms of the hail core, but we definitely still have some hail falling right in here. So if you're in the Pilot Point area, there's definitely a chance for maybe around $1.25 to $1.5 size hail still with the storm as it moves off to the east. The storm, by the way, that's up north of Bonham has been downgraded to quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. That'll again be moving toward Paris, Texas eventually. And we have a lot more storm activity that's forming just south of Paris, and this is where that flood concern is going to start to come into play. A lot of these storms are very slow moving. These ones are also not really that fast, but they're going to push right into this area that we're seeing multiple inches of rain in. So flooding concerns definitely going to increase over the next hour or two. How bad will the storms be in Abilene? The Abilene storms shouldn't be too bad. I think the overall activity there is a bit weaker. Might see some strong storm activity, but severe weather looks to be on the lower side of things. But again, look at this outflow boundary. You can see it all the way across the board here. It's pretty incredible how you can see that all the way from Abilene back into, I think, yeah, Mineral Wells. And from the DFW radar site, you can almost see the exact same shelf cloud, the outflow boundary, that goes from Mineral Wells all the way back through the Flower Mound area. It's pretty incredible. You put the two radar scans together, you can basically connect the dots. It's pretty cool to see that on radar. And it's a pretty powerful outflow boundary. And on this leading edge, by the way, of this outflow boundary, we are going to see some high winds out of it. At least some gusty winds. Here's a closer look, by the way, at the radar view near Oak Point. And again, notice the high wind field that's over the Lincoln Park area. A little interesting little feature here, too. Near the Oak Point area, you can kind of see maybe a little bit of rotation there, but overall, the red is very weak, which would mean those are the velocities going away from the radar. And if that was actual rotation, it would likely be a very weak tornado if there was one. But there was a little bit of weak rotation there going away from the radar. Doesn't that outflow boundary decrease the tornado risk? You are entirely correct. Yes. The outflow boundary usually does decrease the tornado risk quite a bit, at least with these particular storms. The new Storm Prediction Center update just came out. I will show you a more detailed view on Radar Omega in a second, but this is our new risk of severe weather. The enhanced risk has gotten squashed because we've already seen severe weather up here, and then the slight risk pretty much in the same exact area, I believe. So no big changes, it looks like, to the risk other than the enhanced risk being squashed. But we are seeing a lot of lightning, again, in northern Denton County. A lot of cloud-to-ground lightning is possible as well. Again, stay away from stay away from windows and stay indoors. And there's really no reason to be outside as these storms are in the vicinity, at least if you're hearing thunder. Flash flood warning has now just been issued for Denison, as well as near the Sherman area. Again, we are seeing some really heavy rainfall right now. Rainfall rates between 2 to 3 inches of rain have already fallen. Additional rainfall totals upwards of an inch are possible. So again, that is a new flash flood warning for northern Grayson County. Mineral Wells, if you see any severe weather or any storm activity in general, it'll be about a half an hour, if not less than that. This would be the storm activity that you're watching for. This isn't currently severe, but I really wouldn't be surprised if we got a warning on this at some point. Let me check out the threats. 50-mile-per-hour winds and pea-sized hail. So yeah, I mean, I honestly think this probably is stronger than that. You can see the, again, bright blue colors on the velocities map. That's going to represent some higher wind speeds. And we also have a bit of a hail core developing northwest of Mineral Wells. Here's another view of that from the Abilene radar site. Not showing nearly as much of a wind threat, but we are at least looking at that potential hail core here. Let's check out the correlation coefficient. Yeah, there's definitely some hail there. So there might be some hail. I'll check in and see if we have any reports on that particular storm. In Aubrey, Texas, by the way, we have new reports on that hail core that was beginning to develop. We had reports of around pea-sized hail. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a bit larger than that, just to the north of Aubrey. The main hail core there was a little bit north of Aubrey, but near the Pilot Point area. All right, let me check out and see if we have any other photos coming in. Wow, this is a pretty crazy view of a storm from earlier. This is a shelf cloud rolling in. This is Jamie Forbus. I'll show you in just a second. It's gonna be a bit blurry, but that's what we're looking at. Shelf cloud over here to the right. Pretty much not clear skies, but much brighter skies at the bare minimum. The clouds are much brighter on the left side of your screen. Really cool photo there. Yeah, that was from earlier today. That was out of... Oh, there's your warning. I literally just called this a second ago. This was out of the Chico, Texas area. All right, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued for Bridgeport, Weatherford, Grafford, Mineral Wells, Jacksboro, Runaway Bay, Bridgeport, near Decatur as well. This is going to be for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. No hail threat on this one. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if we had a little bit of large hail with this, maybe around quarter-sized. But that's your new warning. Again, that is going to be for parts of western North Texas, just west of the DFW Metroplex. That does include, again, Weatherford, Mineral Wells, Bridgeport, near 380, near Decatur. Again, you can see all this activity on the Radar Omega app. You can also get data, like the cyclone port data. You can get the radar views that I'm also using. They have computer models, by the way, embedded into the app on your iOS and Android device. This is, again, we are using Radar Omega in this live stream. You can download it with the top link in the description below. Again, I highly recommend it if you're looking in the market, at least, for a radar app. You can definitely check it out. Highly recommend it. Radar Omega. We do have that new update on the severe weather outlook. Here's the update. Let me take off the radar real quick. Here's this new update. We have all the warnings on, so it might look kind of messy, and also the watches. But here's your enhanced risk of severe weather. So that has been condensed. DFW has actually been added to the enhanced risk of severe weather. So let me kind of zoom in here. But Fort Worth is kind of on the cusp of it, at least. Flower Mound, Denton, McKinney, Plano, just north of Dallas, all included in this enhanced risk of severe weather. Slight risk of severe weather does include Waco, back through San Angelo. The Big Spring area and Abilene, or just south of Abilene, are included in the slight risk of severe weather. Marginal threat goes through eastern Oklahoma, all the way back through even into Mexico, and as well as back near College Station and Killeen. Those areas are all included in a marginal risk of severe weather. So that's the latest update. The main thing that we need to look at is the different threats. The hail threat at this point is much lower. We're looking at a very low threat for very large hail. We're looking at more of a large hail concern. So if there's any hail, it'll be pretty widely scattered overall, and it'll probably be less than 2 inches in diameter. So overall, that threat of very large hail is diminishing. The damaging wind threat is still well up there. We actually have a hatched area still. And what this means is that we could see damaging winds exceeding 75 miles per hour in this hatched area. That includes Gainesville, Denton, back through Interstate 20, Abilene, Graham, and really all of western north, or really at least a good sector there, western North Texas. And again, the red area is going to represent a 30% chance within a 25-mile radius of a tornado. Or sorry, of damaging winds, excuse me. And our tornado risk is going to be still pretty low overall. It has been condensed, but we're still looking at a very low tornado risk. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an isolated tornado. This goes all the way back through San Angelo, Abilene, again, Dallas, Sulphur Springs, Paris, Plano, Denton, are all included in that very low tornado risk. Again, it's very low. I cannot stress that enough. You should have a tornado action plan in place, and you should have multiple ways to receive alerts, but I would not be freaking out about this tornado risk. It's not worth it. It's, again, there's nothing too crazy here tonight in terms of the tornado risk. I would be well more prepared, though, for the damaging wind and large hail threat. Those are really concerning, at least right now. The damaging wind threat in particular, again, we could see some flying trampolines. Trees could fall down, so definitely make sure you're staying on the lowest floor possible when these storms are pushing through your area. That's what we're looking at overall. Basically, inland hurricane conditions. Not really at hurricane conditions, but it's not far from that. Is Denton done? Denton County is probably not done yet, because we have this activity behind it. That might still be a little bit severe once it approaches Denton County. More than anything, this activity will probably remain severe all the way through Fort Worth. This activity here is a bit more of a question mark, whether it'll still stay severe or even just strong at the bare minimum going through Denton County. So there's more storms to come if you're in Denton, but bit of a question mark whether we'll see severe weather out of that or not. If you're in Paris, Texas, I'd be watching more of this storm more than anything that's moving over toward Paris. That is more of a damaging wind threat and also maybe some quarter-sized hail. How's Michigan looking for rain tomorrow? I don't think you're looking too bad. I mean, you're looking at severe weather, but there might be a little bit of rain. Else, other than that, I mean, we're not really looking at anything too crazy there. And really, there's not even a risk of severe weather tomorrow. So, some good news there if you're looking forward to a non-severe weather day. That, by the way, we have a pretty large general risk of severe weather. It goes from Michigan all the way back through Texas. It's kind of interesting, though, having an enhanced risk of severe weather in the southern plains today and not having a risk of severe weather at all tomorrow. I don't remember the last time that happened, but it's kind of an interesting little feature, the bare minimum. Fort Worth could get pretty bad. It's going to depend on how this area of storms evolves back out to the west. But pretty significant storm activity that's west of DFW. And this would be really something to watch for, because this would probably be the more significant of the storm activity we've seen so far today, and even tonight, at least across, North Texas. New severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued for Denton County. It's going to be for the eastern parts of Denton County, and as well as back through areas in Collin County. This is going to be for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, and as well as quarter-sized hail. Posting that to Facebook. And if you're in this area, make sure you're staying away from windows. If you're just tuning in, again, brand new severe thunderstorm warning on this storm. A lot of lightning, by the way, but new severe thunderstorm warning for the areas like McKinney, as well as eastern Denton County, northern and central Collin County, and damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour are possible. All right, that is posted. Welcome back to another Max Velocity weather forecast. How's it going, Rainbow? Welcome back. Been a while since I've had an enhanced risk of severe weather. I think July or August. Yeah, it's been a while. North Texas actually had one a bit more recently. It's a few weeks ago. But some areas haven't seen one in a while. How's it going, Joe? What do you think Tyler will get? Tyler will probably have more of a damaging wind threat by that point. Here's the future radar. Let me go to that real quick. So in case you're curious about what's to come basically over the next several hours in terms of timing and all that, let's go through the future radar. So we'll begin with 8 o'clock, which is right about now. This is what it looks like out there. So again, we got a couple of areas of storms. HRR is kind of off on it, but you know, you get the general idea of what it's trying to show you, right? There's a couple areas of storms north and west of DFW. Here's what it looks like by 10 o'clock. I think the storms become more organized by this point. We're watching more for a damaging wind threat that extends from the Abilene area back into parts of North Texas and near Paris. Damaging winds will be the main concern. There might be some lightning, for sure. At least storms, there will be lightning for sure, but the hail threat is going to be on the lower side of things. I think if we see hail, it's probably going to be below golf ball sized hail for the most part. An isolated storm might get up close to 2 inches in diameter for hail, but it's going to be a very low risk, I would say, overall. And if it does happen, it'll be a very isolated risk. Tornado risk, it's also very low, so I would not be too concerned about it, but have a tornado action plan in place just in case. By 11 o'clock tonight, we'll be watching for this line of storms to push through Dallas, back just south of Fort Worth and east of Dallas. We'll be watching for an elongated line of storms to organize itself into. This will be mainly producing scattered damaging winds, and again, frequent lightning is likely. By midnight, this line is pushing down just south and east of Dallas, and eventually by 2 in the morning, this area of storms will be moving through Waco, Killeen, back through Tyler, and Longview. And again, if you see severe weather tonight, it will likely be more of a damaging wind threat. However, again, I wouldn't rule out some large hail, and perhaps, again, maybe a brief tornado. But I think that tornado risk is overall very low tonight. This is by 5 tomorrow morning, by the way. Storm activity, it's much weaker by then. It's moving through College Station, but I don't think we're going to really see anything too crazy out of that. If it's still really intense during the morning, it would be mainly a damaging wind threat up to 60 miles per hour. So that's what we're looking at, again, in terms of the long-term timing. And again, you can view the future radar and everything like that on the Radar Omega app. You can download it with the top link in the description below on iOS and Android. In Northwest Arkansas, how are we looking? I don't think Northwest Arkansas is going to see anything that crazy tonight. I mean, anything up here, it's going to be pretty minimal. Near Tulsa, there was some damaging winds, but that'll be about it. And I don't even think you'll really see that in Arkansas. I don't think that those storms have enough juice to really get into Arkansas and still produce the same threats. Legit just popped in and you're saying your video introduction had me at a whiplash. That's good timing, I guess. That's actually pretty crazy timing. And by the way, if you have any photos or videos that you'd like to send in, you can send them in to us on Facebook at NTXWC, sorry, North Texas Weather Center, not Max Velocity. And also you can send it in to us by email. That link is in the description below. Here's a live view again out of Denton County. This is in Lantana, Texas, top or really right side of your screen, middle right. There is some lightning there in the background, and that is the severe storm that is going into McKinney, Texas right now. So you can kind of see that in the background there. That is our live cam again out of Lantana, Texas. This is the storm that's rolling into McKinney right now. Let's check out the velocities. We'll go to the close-up radar site here. Again, your main area of wind is going to be right in here. So it's going to be near Prosper, north of Little Elm. That's where the highest wind speeds will be. Back over to here, and let's go to the long-range radar site. Let's check to see if there's any huge hail core here. We're not really seeing a lot of hail out of this. This will be the hail core right there. That's going to be east of Aubrey now, going towards Salina and Prosper. That'll be the area to watch for some hail. We have a report, by the way, of half-inch hail falling near Jacksboro. Just a little heads up there. That's the storm that has just been warned as a severe storm about 8 minutes ago or so. But that right there is your hail core, that little pink area that you see there. There's also maybe a little bit of hail over 380. Again, I'll be moving toward Prosper and McKinney. Doesn't seem like anything too concerning right now, but it will be something to watch for to see if it evolves into maybe something bigger. This area of storms, though, is much more concerning. Again, this will be moving toward DFW. We're actually up to golf ball-sized hail now, so golf ball-sized hail risk is now in the storm near Mineral Wells. That was a bright flash of lightning, by the way. This is out of Mineral Wells, though. We're now up to golf ball-sized hail threat, and again, damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. This is going to be moving toward DFW. So a pretty intense area of storms right now that is going to be moving toward the DFW area here pretty soon. No internet right now, internet outage, so no TV for weather alerts. I got you, Sarah, no problem. Kinney is fairly calm right now. That would be the calm before the storm. That's what they call it. We've had 0 tornadoes today. Apparently there was a water spout. This was an actual report. I gotta go back, I think, on this. But there was an actual report of a water spout in Texas. I don't think we actually saw a water spout. This is the report. So if you're familiar with the Whiteface area, this is west of Levelland and west of Lubbock. There was a water spout report. I don't think there's even a lake there, but that was a report over there. So I'm guessing that meant land spout, because I don't think there's any way we had a water spout over there unless there's an actual lake, which I'm not familiar with one in that area. I looked at the satellite imagery. I did not see one. If anybody has any clue, let me know. But I'd be pretty shocking if there was a water spout in Texas, because there aren't that many lakes, and the ones that where there are lakes, they're not usually that big. I used to, Linda. See, out in the distance, wind is starting to pick up, but no rain yet. Yeah, again, you got about maybe 3 or 4 minutes until this actually hits you. We do have a confirmation now, by the way, out of Jacksboro. Ping pong ball-sized hail is falling. Yeah, this is what it looks like. Closer view of it. The hail that actually fell near Jacksboro, it's not even associated with the more intense hail core that's down here. Very heavy rainfall at the bare minimum falling near Grafford. Is anybody in the Jacksboro area? I'm just curious. No, Senti. What size hail? This storm in particular is ping pong right now, but it's warned for golf ball. Confirmed ping pong ball-sized hail. Where is the cold front? The main cold front is off to the north. I'll draw it out really quickly. I'm just going to kind of give you a general idea. So we have a bit more of a smaller feature here. There's actually technically a cold front right here. Then you got your warm front. That's kind of what goes with severe weather. Our main cold front that'll bring really cold weather is back up here. That's still really about a 24 hours-ish out, maybe 48 hours out, if you're in North Texas. So that's the general idea. If you want to know where it is, you can just look up, current surface map on Google, and you can find it that way too. It's usually the easiest way to figure out where a cold front is, but it's better to actually know what the cold fronts are, because there's technically a cold front here in North Texas. It's just very small. It's not, it's not like one of the ones that brings like Arctic air, for example. I mean, that's not what we're looking at there. It might be like a small temperature drop more because of the storms, more than anything. But the one that's off to the north, that's back up like through the Midwest, and it's in the Oklahoma Panhandle right now. It's still about a day out from DFW. We're supposed to have thunderstorms tonight in Lakeview, Michigan. I don't think we're going to see anything too crazy over Michigan. I'm going to be honest with you. What is a mesoscale discussion? It's basically a fancy word for, an outlook, like a short-term outlook for severe weather typically. So that's all it is. We don't have any, I don't think we have any mesoscale discussions that are active. If we do, it'd be because of the watch that was issued like 30 minutes ago. By the way, again, if you're just tuning in, we have a pretty intense area of storms. It's west of DFW. This is going to be pretty intense, and this is going to be something to watch out for if you are in Fort Worth or Denton County. I don't think this will go beeline toward Denton, but Denton will still be under the gun, perhaps, for this. Flower Mound will be in the track of that area, too. One thing we have to watch out for with this will be the damaging winds. That's one. Two will be the hail core, because there's a pretty intense hail core happening here. We have a lot of lightning, too. So, really a mix of everything with this storm right now. And as it approaches DFW, it's likely to remain intense, I would say. The damaging wind threat, I wouldn't be surprised if it got upwards of 70 to 80 miles per hour on this storm. It's not out of the question, this sort of environment. This storm in particular, though, has a lot more to work with, I would say, over the one that's over near McKinney. By the way, look at this right here. You can actually see it. The outflow boundary is visible across the entire DFW Metroplex. So if you look outside and you're in Fort Worth right now, if you look to the north, you'll be able to probably see a shelf cloud. It might be hard because it's nighttime, but you might have some luck. Depends on how lucky you are, but you might have some luck if you look off to the north. But it's going to be a complete light show once this area of storms approaches DFW. And honestly, we have a live cam again out of Lantana, Texas, at the bottom right of your screen. Once this area of storms does get closer to DFW, out to the west, we'll probably have a pretty good view of all the lightning. So it'll be kind of interesting to see. Is a tornado possible in Tarrant County? Not really. I would say it's a very low risk. I'm honestly going to tell you, I think the tornado risk is like 0.01%. But, you know, it's a very low chance. And even if one happened, it would probably be very brief. It would not last a long time. We don't really have that sort of environment here across North Texas. Especially with all the outflow boundaries that we have ongoing. All these outflow boundaries are just hindering an overall, you know, development. I'm going to go and show this. I think, Sabrina, I think you're watching. I'm going to go and show this and kind of explain it. All right. This is what we're looking at over in... I can't even go full screen on this. It really stinks. The Facebook, like, thing. It makes it kind of hard to do this. Can you email me that? I need to show this because it's actually something. It is a transformer that blew. That's what that is. But I want to show it. There has been a transformer that actually we have a video of. It's distant, but a transformer basically blew up in the Salina area from lightning. It's getting super windy in Tarrant County. That is because of this outflow boundary right here. It's not even a storm. This is just the outflow boundary. And that's going to be producing some wind. The radar's not really picking up on anything too crazy there, but there is definitely some wind with that. Again, the winds are probably around 40 to 50 miles per hour. How's it going, Eric? Hope you're doing well. I'm glad I can help, Nathaniel. Decatur? Yeah, if you're in Decatur, this is what we'll be watching for, is this area of storms here. I think the worst of it will stay to your south, but I would still be monitoring this very closely. This area right here going toward Fort Worth could, again, go upward of 70 to 80 mile per hour winds once it gets closer to Fort Worth. We're definitely looking, though, at golf ball-sized hail in the short term. So, again, if you're in this area, definitely make sure you're staying away from windows. Like a pretty dangerous storm right now. Moving off to the east. Just got really cold in McKinney. I'm actually kind of curious real quick. What's the temperature difference here? McKinney's 80. Look at Denton. Denton's down to 70. Decatur's only 69 degrees. Can you believe it? Most of the time, at least recently, North Texas has struggled to even dip below 70 recently. All the temperatures south of DFW, or south of this outflow boundary, are in the 90 range. 88 to 92 degrees. Or 80, more like 87 to 90. It's not really 92, but... you get the idea, at least. Again, Decatur's down to 69 degrees. Gainesville's down to 67. And the cold front's back up here. You can see the temperature difference. Garden City's down to 57. It's going to get pretty cold up there. We're going to have our first freeze of the season across the northern plains on Saturday. So. Storm reports are saying rotation in Jacksboro, Texas. I'm seeing a little bit of rotation. This could be a QLCS trying to possibly briefly develop. So check this out. Yeah, there's a little bit of rotation attempting to develop there near Perrin. We'll have to watch that closely. A little bit of rotation. Wind, by the way, is really picking up in... Let's see where this is. In Frisco. Wind is really picking up. That video of it. Let me take the METAR data off real quick. But again, there's a little bit of rotation on the storm near Jacksboro, so we'll be watching that very closely. I'm trying to see if I can get this video. Don't know if my email is going to allow it to come through. It might be going to spam. We'll see. I have not yet received it, Sabrina. So if you sent it, I have not yet received it. But again, there's a little bit of rotation there. I'm going to check a couple other radars as well. See if I can match that up there. It's not much. I would say the rotation, again, is overall still kind of broad here. Again, the rotation that's ongoing with this storm is going to be back over near Perrin. It's going to be up here. It's not much right now, but it is going to be something to watch for over the next 5 to 10 minutes. And if it can evolve, we might see a tornado come out of that. That'll be more of impacting the areas like Springtown. So that'll be something to watch for. Again, there is a ton of lightning, though, out of this area near Jacksboro. Next Monday, where I live, the low temperature is 38 degrees. That is insane. That's just cold. I don't remember the last time we were that cold. By the way, severe thunderstorm warning is still ongoing. That's going to be for Paris, by the way. If you're in Paris, Texas, quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds possible with this storm. This hail core has been growing a little bit, so we might get upwards of half-dollar-sized hail if you are in Paris. Be mindful. Quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Again, it could get maybe a little bit larger than that as well. Let's go to the close-up radar site on this one, too. This one is not really rotating, by the way. So the one near McKinney, not really rotating right now. At some point in the next few minutes, if there is actual rotation, we should have a pretty good view on it. Once this area of storms gets closer to, like, Poolville, we might have a better view of rotation with those close-up radar sites, but, again, I don't think we have a whole lot of rotation here right now. It's pretty broad at this point, near Advanced and Poolville. More of a straight-line wind threat. This is really what you gotta be concerned about, in my opinion. This would be what I would be way more concerned about is this. This blue area that you see here, that is the area of wind that we're seeing that's approaching Weatherford. This could be as high as 70 miles per hour. The radar is actually picking up near 80 miles per hour. That's a little bit off the surface, so it's probably going to be about maybe 5 to 10 miles per hour lower at the surface. So, yeah, we are looking at some high winds here for sure, going toward Weatherford and Springtown. So definitely make sure you're staying weather aware. Stay away from windows again if you're in this area. So it's definitely a pretty dangerous area of storms. Again, this area of storms is also producing a lot of lightning. And if you are currently near Springtown or Weatherford, I would consider getting away from windows in the next 5 minutes as this area of storms does approach. And we are going to be looking at the threat for some very high winds. Again, this damaging wind threat could easily get upwards of 70 to 80 miles per hour down the road. It's not out of the question. We do have a new wind confirmation. 65 miles per hour has just been confirmed. As of approximately 6 minutes ago, just north of Mineral Wells. That's about 6 miles north of Mineral Wells. Again, a 65-mile-per-hour wind gust has been confirmed. And I would not be surprised, again, if this got upgraded to 70 miles per hour. It does seem as if our wind field here is starting to increase in intensity. And again, this will be making a beeline right toward DFW. We'll put a timing guide on this. When east at 35 miles per hour. I do think it's going a bit quicker than that. And again, you can get this tool as well on Radar Omega, so you can actually track out the storms for yourself. I'm going to put 40 Just be a bit more conservative here because I do think it's going a bit faster. Here's your timing guide, though. Again, give or take about 5 to 10 minutes in all these time frames, but for example, Fort Worth in about 55 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if this area of storms got there way quicker than that. I think this is going to be here probably in the next 45 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. Also, up near Bridgeport, it's going to be there in the next, like, 5 minutes. Benbrook will probably be within the next 45 minutes as well. Azle will probably be around 30 minutes from now. Carter, probably about 15 minutes from now. Willow Park, approximately 25 minutes from now. That's my opinion, at least right now on the timing. I think it's a little bit quicker than this. About your current timing, population, the track of this is about 1 million. I think it's higher than that. I could be wrong. But that's what we're looking at in terms of the timing guide, again, on these storms as they continue to move to the east. Again, Fort Worth is going to be under the gun most likely here for some high winds. That's probably what's going to end up happening if this maintains intensity, which, by the way, it has so far. So it has remained very intense to this point. And it probably will for the next little while anyways. And again, you can get all these tools and the radar, the computer models, the satellite imagery, everything for a weather radar is on the Radar Omega app. Again, that is what we're currently using here on this live stream, and you can download this on your iOS and Android device. You can download it with the top link in the description below on iOS and Android. It's $8.99, but again, I cannot stress it enough. It is so worth it. Has everything that you need. It's an all-in-one weather app. All right, let me check to see if I have any other photos here. I haven't any others as of right now. Quick update on the McKinney storm. It is still producing some damaging winds here. Hail threat is overall becoming less of a factor. Not really seeing any definitive areas of hail. Maybe a little bit here just west of McKinney, but it doesn't seem to be anything too crazy. Yeah, we are getting some confirmation of hail. It's pea-sized hail, though, west of McKinney. So that's the confirmation that we're getting out of there, or at least reports. So just a little update there for the McKinney area. Yeah, a little bit of hail still falling, but it's nothing, I would say, too crazy. Back over near the Advance area, this is near Mineral Wells, Texas, just west of DFW. Again, very high wind field right now near Cool and Advance and Poolville. So we'll be going towards Springtown over the next several minutes. And notice the hail core. I mean, that's a lot of hail that's falling right now on the leading edge of this area of storms. And again, we have golf ball-sized hail potential out of this area of storms. So as this continues to move off to the east, it will likely still be producing some pretty large hail. That hail core will probably just stay on the north side of Weatherford, but I would still be prepared if you're in Weatherford, and probably just south of Springtown is my guess. It might basically go in between the two, going toward 51. It's kind of going due east right now. Maybe a little bit of east-southeast motion. Gotta see, it's actually going a little bit east-southeast. It actually could drop down toward Weatherford, now that I kind of look at this more. Gotta see how it's been dropping down a little bit more to the south. Just a little bit. Again, if you're in Weatherford, be mindful. There could be some hail damage. And by the way, if you have any hail damage in North Texas, I do recommend Platinum Contracting for roofing and All Dents Repair for car damage. They're not sponsoring this stream, but I just want to throw that out there. It will definitely help you. Somebody just sent me a screenshot thinking that this looks like a little alien. Hey, like a scan ago, it looked like one. All right, interesting. Interesting comment. I currently live north of DFW. The wind is really starting to ramp up. Yeah, again, this is the outflow boundary. Right here. Looks kind of weird on radar, and you might be thinking, what in the world is this? This is an outflow boundary, and they're also called gust fronts. What they essentially produce are gusty winds between 40 to 50 miles per hour. In most cases, they don't produce really any rain, but usually with these, you'll see a shelf cloud. So that's what that's doing right now near Fort Worth, Carrollton. Gonna be moving through Garland and Irving, eventually toward Dallas eventually. Hope they don't put a risk of severe weather in Michigan in the morning. Let me check real quick. I don't think you're going to see anything that crazy. If you got a risk of severe weather tomorrow, I would be shocked. I don't see any reason why there would be a risk. If there was a risk, it'd be damaging winds, but I don't even think that would happen. Very doubtful, in my eyes. Once these storms get to Arkansas, you are not looking at really anything out of this other than rain and maybe some thunder. If there's any severe weather, it would be more of a damaging wind threat. Look at the amount of lightning right now. This is all lightning in the last few minutes. We've had a boatload of lightning out of the storm near Mineral Wells. Let me check to see what the exact count is. We have 140 lightning strikes per minute. That's 2 per second. Out of this one storm. That's it. Just one storm here that's producing almost 140 lightning strikes per minute. And it's all confined into this area, basically. It doesn't really go outside of it. There's a couple of lightning strikes up to the north, but man, it is producing a boatload of lightning. That's incredible. And it's just one storm. I mean, that's just crazy. The one over here in McKinney is not producing really much of anything when it comes to lightning. This storm combined with the one over near Paris, which the one near Paris is producing a pretty good amount of lightning too. That's about 60 strikes per minute for this area of storms here. So pretty vast difference. So we're over doubling the amount of, you know, lightning just out of this storm. It's just crazy. By the way, new update on this warning. It has been downgraded to ping pong ball sized hail. The wind has been upgraded to 70-mile-per-hour winds. Put this on loop real quick. Again, this is currently a storm that is producing over 130, 140 lightning strikes per minute. And again, it's moving toward DFW. Dallas is or more Fort Worth more than anything will be in the track of this. Dallas might be in the track of this too. We'll see. But long term, it's been dropping a bit more down to the east-southeast. So that's currently the storm motion. How's it going, Samuel? Welcome back. How's it going, Zen? Alright, there we go. Imagine 50 strikes per second. That'd be terrifying. I don't even know. I don't think that's possible. I don't know what the highest per second has ever been out of one storm. Tornado threat for Fort Worth, it is very, very low. Pretty much zero. But I wouldn't say it's zero, but it's pretty low. The only way we would get a tornado out of this storm activity would be this up here near Poolville. Take a closer look at it. I mean, there's a little bit of a QLCS that's trying to develop here. Like it's trying to get a little inflow here, maybe something up here near Poolville, but it's really not much, and I don't think it's going to evolve, but there is always a chance, so we'll definitely keep a close eye on it. But in a second here, once this area of storms is a bit closer to Springtown, we should have a pretty good view of the velocities on the close range radar site. And that should help overall being able to see if there's actually any rotation here. Apparently there was a tornado. A small EF... I don't know if... I don't think this is confirmed. And I don't know if this is real. I'm pretty sure this is fake, but somebody reported at 7:07 p.m., which is about an hour ago, that there was a brief tornado, lasted about 1 to 2 minutes, near Decatur, 6 miles east-southeast of Decatur. I don't think that's real. But that was a report through the Spotter Network, which is pretty reputable when it comes to reports. But I believe that was a fake report. So just want to throw that out there. I don't think that's real, but that was along with the outflow boundary. That was when the outflow boundary happened, which if there was something like that, it would have actually been a land spout technically, not a... but probably would have been, unless there was a storm there. But there were videos in Decatur? Were there actually? Am I missing something? Let me look up on Facebook and see. Of course, when I look it up, all my posts show up. Let me see the most recent here. I don't see anything. Has anybody else seen anything on that? And if you're just tuning in, we have a very intense storm that is going toward Fort Worth. Again, this is producing 70-mile-per-hour damaging winds and ping-pong ball-sized hail. And again, this is a pretty intense supercell. This is producing a boatload of lightning. Right now, via lightningmaps.org, there's an estimate of over 140 lightning strikes per minute. Again, that's about a little over 2 per second. So very intense storm right now, and this will be going directly toward Fort Worth. Yes, this is Texas. Posted in a group. Yeah, I don't see anything on it. I mean, you know, I'll try to look into it a little bit, but I would be surprised if we saw a tornado in Decatur. I feel like I would have heard about it. By the way, latest Storm Prediction Center update just came out. A mesoscale discussion. Again, this is a fancy word just for, you know, basically a short-term forecast. Greatest near-term severe weather potential is right over DFW, and it's going to be associated with that storm that's just west of DFW. So the greatest threat for severe weather is going to likely be out of that activity right there. So, all right, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning now for DFW. And this is now going to be for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and ping pong ball-sized hail. And that's the latest on this warning. If you're in Fort Worth, Benbrook, Weatherford, Springtown, Azle, as well as the Pelican Bay area, White Settlement, all under the gun here for some large hail and damaging winds. Yeah, if you're in Fort Worth, you need to be prepared for this. Stay away from windows as this storm approaches. Again, that is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning, and look at this, by the way. Near Poolville, looks like we have a hail core developing up there now. It's kind of hard to tell now, but that is all hail right up there near Poolville. Hail core developing there, a lot of white, and on this leading edge here, we got a couple areas here that are also producing a boatload of hail. It's a very intense area of storms, I'll just say that right off the bat. I mean, it's been unbelievable how this has evolved here over the last 30 minutes. And again, this will be making a straight-up beeline toward Fort Worth. All right, we have a better view of the velocities. Again, we do have some rotation here. Still got to watch that a little bit for the rotation. It's not much, and I think it's overall pretty weak. But it is going to be something to watch because we do have a little bit of an inflow trying to develop here. So it will be something to watch for up there. Again, north of Weatherford. Again, frequent lightning is likely with the storm as well. What about the trampoline alert? We are on a medium risk for flying trampolines today. Medium risk. Here's the risk categories here. We're not on a high risk, I know it says that, but we're on a medium risk for North Texas the rest of this evening. Medium risk of flying trampolines. It was high risk this afternoon for the storm activity up to the north. North and northwest of DFW. A few miles north of Mineral Wells, it's pretty quiet now. Yeah, there's nothing behind this. I mean, we got more storms behind it, but it's more heavy rain more than anything. The worst of it has already passed you. So, good news there if you're over north of Mineral Wells. Oh god, I'm in Fort Worth. Yeah, the best thing to do, again, if you're in Fort Worth, you got probably about 20 minutes-ish. You know, make sure you're staying indoors, one. You have to do anything last second, you gotta do it now, otherwise, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of lightning. There's really no reason to be outside at all during this storm. With how much lightning there is, it's very dangerous, and a lot of it will likely be cloud to ground. Hail core is definitely pretty intense right now. Will it stay alive through DFW? We're going to have to wait and see, right? Because there's a lot of hail with this, and it's definitely possible that we see a pretty nasty hail core move into DFW. And that could very well kind of hinder here could at least cause damage, I should say, across much of DFW if that does end up staying alive here. We are watching right now for ping pong ball-sized hail, which is definitely damaging. Lots of lightning, as I mentioned before, and there's also going to be a threat for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. That leading edge of damaging winds is all right in here. Weatherford is going to be getting the brunt of those winds within the next minute. I mean, we got a serious amount of wind right now going into Weatherford. Look at this right here. The radar right now is picking up on winds upwards of 85 miles per hour to 90 miles per hour. But again, that is off the ground. At the surface, it's probably a bit lower, perhaps around 75 to 80 miles per hour. So, again, that is definitely something that's pretty concerning there. So near Weatherford, the winds might be up to 80 miles per hour. Is anybody currently in Weatherford? I know we have a lot of viewers in North Texas. Is anybody in Weatherford right now? Anybody hearing anything, seeing anything? Obviously, there's a chance that power could go out with that sort of, you know, threat. No problem, Drew. We're done with hurricanes, you think? I think we are. I don't think we're going to see much more. I mean, there might be, like, one more system. I honestly kind of forgot about Tropical Storm Felipe. I mean, it's going actually toward New England all of a sudden. Felipe really slowed down. I thought it would just die out, and apparently it's still going. Kind of one of those weird storms. I'm in Weatherford. Sirens going off in Weatherford, north of Weatherford. Yeah, if you hear anything or anything like that, let me know. Because again, we have a pocket, at least on radar, it's showing around 80 to 90 mile per hour winds off the surface. So at the surface, it's probably between 70 to 80 miles per hour. I am kind of curious to see if that actually goes, you know, to that number. It's a pretty high number. Southeast of Denton, should I be worried? If you're southeast of Denton, I would still stay weather aware for the next hour or so. After this area of storms passes, it'll be mainly a lot of rain from there. You know how many people were commenting today about, like, you know, not seeing, like, you know, this is being hyped up so much, we're not going to see any rain or anything. You know, I honestly thought this was going to happen, like, the entire time, the last, like, 2 days, but there were so many people that were, like so skeptical about us even seeing rain today, because they didn't think a line of storms would actually form. But it's really come to fruition. I mean, we have a lot of rain. It's not a line technically yet, but this will all organize into a line eventually. Even then, I mean, we're still looking at a lot of heavy rain. We have bands of just clusters, really, of heavy rainfall. We got, like, one over here, one here, one here, one here, one here. More elongated one there. We also got a little bit in here. A lot of heavy area, a lot of rain, a lot of it being heavy. Again, the red shaded areas there. Power flashes and huge hail in Weatherford. Thanks for the reports. Yeah, we got huge hail falling in Poolville. I'm gonna try to get this video. But there's a lot of hail falling right now in the, there are sirens going off too. But yeah, in the Poolville area, Weatherford area, we are getting reports now of some pretty nasty hail. I'm not sure what the size is, but I'm getting some videos of it. I'm gonna see if I can get them on here in a second. This is gonna be heading toward Fort Worth. What should we expect overnight in Paris? Overnight would be mainly rain. I'm getting another report from a viewer in Weatherford. Heavy hail and tornado sirens. I don't know what that exactly means. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I have zero clue what that means. Heavy hail. I'm assuming a lot of hail. That's my guess. All right, I have that video of the hail in Poolville. Let me go ahead and show you guys that. Poolville, by the way, is just north of Weatherford. It's going to be in this area here. That's where the largest hail core was there for a brief amount of time. This was sent in by Gisele Worski, I believe. Let me go back here. My thing was kind of freezing here. This is a video, though, out of Poolville. For some reason, Media Player makes these things look so bad. Is there a way to up the FPS? Video settings. Video enhancements. I don't know how to do that. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good video of it, all the hail falling, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, Media Player wants to show it in very slow motion. I don't know why. I'll have to see if I can fix that. Yeah, a lot of heavy hail falling, again, over there in Poolville. Again, there's a lot of hail coming with this. It didn't seem to be too large out of that video, at least. But I'll keep you posted if we get any reports on that end. And again, there are sirens going off in the Weatherford area. That does not mean there's a tornado warning. It's for the hail threat, and man, this hail core is coming right toward DFW. If you know anybody in DFW, make sure they're very aware of this. Fairly intense hail core right now going toward DFW. In addition to this, we are looking at 70-mile-per-hour winds, perhaps even higher, with this area of storms right now. And this is what we're looking at. This pocket of wind right here over Weatherford. Upward of 70 to 75-mile-per-hour winds that will be heading toward Fort Worth. Getting more videos and stuff sent in. Yeah, the winds are pretty high in Springtown, too. Seems to be around 60 to 70 from what I'm seeing. It's just a guesstimate, though. Lots of lightning, by the way. I can't stress that enough. We have a lot of lightning. Latest count on the lightning strikes per minute is 110 lightning strikes per minute. Again, that means we're seeing 2 lightning strikes per second. Just kind of for reference. And by the way, if you're just tuning in for the first time, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Again, we'll keep posted with the latest. And again, we are using Radar Omega. You can check it out with the top link in the description below. It's an all-in-one radar app for your iOS and Android device. And you can download it with the top link in the description below. See all the lightning data, satellite data, computer models, everything that you need is, again, on Radar Omega. Top link in the description below. Cannot recommend it enough. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is going toward Fort Worth. So if you are in DFW, or if you know anybody in DFW, make sure that they are really aware of this storm. There's a good chance that we'll be seeing some fairly large hail there, if this does continue the way it has been, which is entirely possible. And one weird thing about this, too, is that the computer model, the HRR model, has actually showed this for the last, like, 12 hours. Like, this particular area having a pretty intense thunderstorm. So, kind of crazy. The math is, you know, going there. Recorded stream? This is not recorded. This is live. Took in my trash cans. There you go. Good stuff. That's awesome, Samantha. I appreciate it. We go back to velocities real quick. And I'm not seeing any rotation here. Let me just double check and see if we have anything from this radar angle. Yeah, it doesn't seem like this is rotating at all. So we're not really looking at any rotation. It doesn't seem like this will produce a tornado per se, but again, 70-mile-per-hour winds, upward of golf ball-sized hail. Those are all threats that are definitely pretty significant here. Is this like a derecho? This is not like a derecho. Derechos are way longer and way more organized. It's like a line of storms that goes for about 250 miles, if not longer, and it produces damaging winds across a widespread area. Doing a lot of multitasking. Again, I'm posting to North Texas Weather Center while doing this. Just kind of throwing that out there. I see a lot of lightning in Cleburne. You can actually see it from Cleburne. That's pretty crazy. I mean, it's not that far from you, but man, the amount of lightning is just crazy with this. I haven't looked at the Denton live cam here in a second. Are we seeing anything at the bottom right? Has anybody seen any flashes? I personally haven't really looked at it, but it doesn't look like anything's happened there. In a little bit, let me do that again. That's Lantana, Texas live cam. It's in Denton County. Dallas, Texas might see this storm, but we'll see. It's moving a bit more east-southeast. So we'll see if it kind of maintains the direction it's going. It's been kind of shifting up and down a little bit, so we'll kind of have to wait and see. Garland will probably not see this. Dallas might, though. It's going to be kind of close. But again, if it stays east, which I don't think it will, I think it's going a bit more east-southeast, but if it did go east, I mean, you would be in the track of this. Wow, look at this thing. This is the latest radar scan. This hail core up near Springtown is just relentless. This hail core, you see that white there? Right here? That's a hail core. Let's go to the correlation coefficient. Wow. That could be some pretty large hail. I mean, that might be upwards of... I wouldn't rely that's over 2 inches in diameter, to say the least. It's hard to tell because we don't have any confirmed reports, right? This is south of Springtown. It's a rural area. But this could be baseball-sized hail. It's not impossible. I mean, that's a serious hail core. Very deep correlation coefficient, which usually indicates, for reference, some pretty large hail. Here are the velocities. Here's the radar. I mean, that's a serious hail core. Is anybody near Springtown right now? Is anybody seeing anything? This is south of Springtown, so the hail core itself is not in Springtown. This will be going toward Azle and eventually going toward Pelican Bay. But, I mean, this is a serious hail core. I haven't seen a deep correlation coefficient drop like this in quite a while for a hail core. I mean, this usually would indicate a tornado with that sort of deep drop, but it's not a tornado, it's hail. But that's pretty crazy. Over 51. Let me zoom in a little bit here. This is zoomed in. Oh, it's over Carter, specifically. That's a serious hail core, though. How's it going, Daniel? This is going to be going toward downtown Fort Worth. Yeah, I mean, the hail core itself is making a beeline. Will it last? We'll see, but this thing's been going for about 40 to 50 minutes now. It's been long tracked. It has been intensifying. It hasn't really been weakening at all. We haven't seen any weakening trend out of this yet. Yeah, I mean, that's a serious hail core. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, pretty intense storm right now heading toward Fort Worth. It is producing, again, damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. It could be even a bit higher. Willow Park, this is getting pretty concerning too. Over Willow Park, radar is estimating around 80 to 85 mile per hour winds now over the Willow Park area. Again, this is a bit off the surface. I can't stress that enough. So at the surface, it's probably around 75. That's a reasonable estimate over Willow Park. That is a wind core that is formed there near Willow Park. And then up to the north near Springtown, we're looking at a pretty nasty hail core. And again, this right here is producing the threat of upwards. I wouldn't, again, rule out this is upwards of like tennis ball-sized hail. We'll see what happens in the next couple of scans. But, I mean, right over this exact location, this is a pretty serious and deep correlation coefficient drop. So there's a chance it's just a lot of hail, or it's large hail, like very large hail. So, but yeah, that's a really deep drop. I mean, again, I've not seen something like that on a correlation coefficient ever. The DBZ values are 74. It's pretty high too. 74 is really high. So yeah, it's definitely hail, but you know how large it is, it's kind of hard to tell because again, it's a very rural area there. It goes into a pretty populated area though, and pretty shortly. Let me go over to here. Yeah, so pretty intense storm. Again, this is going toward Fort Worth. You know anybody in Fort Worth, make sure you give them a call or text. Make sure they're getting, you know, staying weather aware here as the storm does approach. This is a pretty nasty storm, though, to say the least. Now I wish I had covered parking. Yeah, it really doesn't help living in North Texas when you don't have covered parking. I mean, it's a big thing. Parking garages, all that sort of stuff. Have I missed any tornadoes? I don't think we've had any confirmed tornadoes. There was a report of a tornado around 7 in Decatur, Texas, but I'm pretty sure that was not real. Pretty sure that was a fake report, but again, I could be mistaken. It was on an outflow boundary, which usually tornadoes don't happen on outflow boundaries. If there was any sort of, you know, something touching ground, it's usually going to be a land spout in that case on an outflow boundary. We saw that last year in Colorado. All right, next radar scan should be in here in a brief moment. And we'll see what this hail core looks like, because again, it looks really bad right now, but here's the latest radar scan. It's a bit better of a view from the other radar site on the velocities. Let's go to this radar site, though. Let's check this out again, because, again, this does not look very good for Fort Worth. This is 846. The velocities are a little bit behind, so we're going to go to the live radar first. This, again, is the main hail core that we've been looking at. This one has been, again, upwards of potentially 2 to 2.5 inches in diameter when it comes to hail. So that's upwards of tennis ball sized hail. It's entirely possible that we're up on that scale. It's not confirmed. It's a possibility, though, with how we've seen this area evolve. The hail could very well be upwards of tennis ball sized. The further southern tier of this storm, so near Willow Park, there is hail here. It's just not nearly as large as this. This is probably going to be in the 1.75 inch or less variety. And then this up here could, again, be around 2.5 inches in diameter. It's a bit of a question mark. We don't 100% know because we haven't had any reports on either part of these this storm yet. All right, we have now had confirmation. So south of Springtown, in that spot, golf ball sized hail at the bare minimum has just been confirmed there. In Willow Park, we just had dime sized hail reported. So there is large hail falling, and it's potentially a large quantity near Springtown. Let's go to the correlation coefficient. Yeah, you can see it here. So this is your area that we could be seeing upwards of tennis ball sized hail. It's probably a little bit lower than that with at least the report that we just had. This is the evolution of it too. I can go back. Doesn't look like I can. Let's go to the velocities. Yeah, there we go. So that's the velocities. I'll show you that here in a second. But back up there again, that's pretty large hail in that hail core that's south of Springtown. Other concern is the wind. We have a very intense wind bag right now near Willow Park. Right here. And the winds are likely around 70 to 75 miles per hour. The radar is estimating upwards of 80 mile per hour winds near Willow Park, but I do think it's a little bit lower than that. Again, we are looking a bit off the surface when it comes to that that big area, I should say, near Interstate 20. By the way, bottom right of your screen, there was a huge flash of lightning in Lantana, Texas. We are starting to see lightning now in the Denton County area, striking pretty far away, by the way, from where the storm even is. And again, this storm is producing around 100 to 120 lightning strikes every single minute. That's about 2 per second. So very frequent lightning right now with this particular storm. And all this is visible on Radar Omega. You can get that on your iOS and Android device with the top link in the description below. Highly recommend this for your radar. If you're in the market for a radar, this is the perfect one to get on your iOS and Android device. And top link in the description below. I'm going to check to see if we have any other reports coming in. I have some more photos coming in. Somebody is in... Where was this? In between Weatherford and Springtown. Somebody sent in a video. I'm not going to show it, but there was a video basically. There's somebody that is literally in their bedroom and they can hear the hail pounding on the roof. And these are pretty intense storms, and it's entirely possible that we see something like that where we're seeing some pretty significant hail that's hitting your roof and you can literally hear it, you know? So, yeah, this is pretty dangerous stuff. And if you have any roof issues, by the way, definitely check out Platinum Contracting. Highly recommend them if you need any help with your roof. I'll put the link in the chat in case you do need any help with your roof, because they do free inspections, by the way, but you can check them out in the Weatherford area. Highly recommend them. Hey, Cynthia, how you doing? Fort Worth is getting more lightning. Yeah, Fort Worth is going to be increasing the lightning activity. Yeah, if you look out your window, if you're in like the Fort Worth area, you're probably going to see a light show out to your west. Again, there's a boatload of lightning, like literally a boatload. Over 100 strikes per minute are happening near the Fort Worth area. That's a ton. It's too hard to really track out Dallas yet, or anywhere in Dallas County. It's too hard to tell what will exactly happen with the storm, but I would be very well on alert if you're in the Irving or Dallas area. Basically anywhere in this quadrant. Be on alert for sure. If you're out here, anywhere basically else in Dallas County, I would still stay weather aware here. But this storm is going to probably impact more of this area here if it were to impact Dallas County. So that's the current, at least, estimate. Anything to worry about Gainesville? Mostly just heavy rain. I wouldn't really expect anything beyond that. Here's the latest radar scan. It looks like that hail core might be diminishing a little bit, so some good news. We still have a hail core here over Willow Park. Still a ton of lightning. All closing in right now on Fort Worth. Here's the correlation coefficient. So you'll notice, again, not nearly as much hail, which is good news. There is definitely still some hail here, and it very well could still be upwards of golf ball size. We have a serious windbag right now coming in on Benbrook. The radar is estimating upwards of 80 to 85 miles per hour. We have power poles that are being reported down right now near the Willow Park area. But that specific spot right there, we are possibly going to be in the range of 70 to 80 mile per hour winds going into the DFW Metroplex. Trying to line this all up. So yeah, I mean, right here, this blue area that you're seeing here, that could be very intense winds right now. If you're a truck driver, by the way, you're going to want to pull over on these interstates with these winds. But we are getting reports now to Willow Park of some power outages. And yeah, power poles are broken essentially with this right here. That is a serious wind field. Yeah, there is an outflow boundary. I'll go back to that here in a second. That's also producing wind. Let me just take a quick screenshot of this, posting this. Yeah, doing a lot of multitasking here. By the way, if you have any photos or videos, you can feel free to send it into our Facebook page. The link to that is in the description below, or email. I'll get to some questions here in a second. Just one moment. All right. Is Denton in danger? Not really right now. No. I mean, you might see some lightning in your area, but I would say severe weather's probably done for your area. By the way, look at the line of storms that's now organizing. This is kind of what the HR model was showing. All this right here is starting to organize itself. So once this area of storms kind of collides with this, we're going to see a more organized line of storms really start to transform here. But the one thing to note, again, is this particular storm is pretty discrete from the other storms right now. So as long as it is discrete, we're going to probably see some pretty significant impacts out of this as it continues to move toward Fort Worth. We are still looking at a threat for damaging winds around 70 miles per hour. It could still be a little bit higher, but I still think it's going to probably stay in the 65 to 75 mile per hour range. Any rotation on the storm near Dallas? No. This is not really rotating, and the main reason why, again, is because we have a lot of outflow boundaries. It really hinders the rotation, but yeah, we're not really looking at anything when it comes to rotation. It's really more of a straight line wind threat, and that was what was really expected today. Was more of a straight line wind threat. But I mean, even with these kind of winds, if we got upward of 80 mile per hour winds, that's going to basically mean, you know, an EF0 type tornado. That's pretty much the wind speeds of an EF0. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head whenever you kind of think about that. Yeah, if you're in Fort Worth, stay away from windows. This is, again, a very dangerous storm closing in on Fort Worth. We'll see if it really maintains its intensity. So far, it has. Hail core has diminished a little bit in the last couple scans. We had a lot of hail potentially falling near Springtown. Has seemingly gone down a little bit. All right, we do have a confirmation of hail. This is at Poolville. Right here. Not sure what the size of this is. Let's see if I get a measure on that. But that's from Brandy Willis. That's a hailstone. Look at this right here. This is the latest radar scan. Looks like we have a hail core trying to develop again, and that's near Westland and Interstate 30. This is crossing now into Tarrant County. It's getting kind of dangerous now, as it is approaching a very populated area. Let's see if I got a measure on that hailstone. That was over in Poolville. Again, right there. Westland. There is hail right there. That the correlation coefficient again indicating that there is hail falling in this area. Near Interstate 30, Interstate 20. This is just west of Fort Worth. Here are the velocities. Again, we could be talking about some pretty significant damaging winds near Benbrook. I'm not sure what the exact number is. Again, radar is estimating upwards of 80 to 85 mile per hour winds. That is not confirmed, though, as of right now. And that would be a little bit off the ground to begin with. But there are definitely some high winds there. At least off the ground. If we have anything else here. We also had another photo sent in out of Springtown, and the hail itself was very small. So, I mean, we got a lot of varying photos. And it depends on where you are with these storms, right? If you're in, like, the, you know, if you're right here, let's say, comparison to, like, right here, the hail might be, you know, potentially 2 inches there and, like, you know, nothing there. You know, it can vary a lot in a very short distance. Hail is usually very, very isolated in nature, but it can obviously cover a lot of ground. It's not necessarily like a tornado, where it's very thin. Usually hail cores are a couple miles wide at least, but rain has started in Dallas. Yeah, the storm activity out here to the east is starting to form, and we actually have a lot of lightning here now, but all this is being developed off this outflow boundary. And here's that outflow boundary, by the way. You can see it on radar pretty clearly, but it's right in here. That's your outflow boundary. Spawning those storms. We had nickel-sized hail in the Springtown area near Azle. Thank you for the report. So we do not have any confirmation, by the way, of the hailstone size on that storm. The hailstone that I showed you a couple minutes ago. We don't have any confirmation there on how large that hail was. Fortunately, it melted too fast, which is very typical with how warm it is. Alright. Again, this is the storm that's in most concern right now. The main area of wind is going to be right in here near Benbrook. That is going to be approaching Fort Worth. And we could be talking about damaging winds upwards of 65 to 75 miles per hour. And I would not be surprised if it was upwards of 80. But it's more likely than not it'll probably be around 70. If you're in Dallas County, you need to be on alert. But overall, if you're on the northern side, you're probably not going to see this particular storm that's producing really significant threats. It's better chance that you'll, unless you're in like southern parts of Dallas County, that'll be the better chance of seeing this particular storm. And the live cam at the bottom right of your screen is in Denton. Here's a more zoomed in look. And there's been some lightning. You can kind of see it occasionally. This storm in particular, again, is just to the south. This is Denton County up here, for those that are not familiar with the area. But this is where the live cam is in particular. It's looking to the north. So there might be some lightning that we catch here and there, but it's probably not going to be much since we're kind of far away from the storm. But this area of lightning, again, we're seeing upwards of 100 lightning strikes per minute. There's a lot of lightning. So definitely make sure you're staying indoors at the bare minimum right now. Yeah, check out the power outages too real quick. I'm sure how many power outages we're up to now. We have 17,000 without power in Texas. It's not a high number yet, but has not updated recently. So it should update here shortly, and we'll have an update on the power outage count. Here's the latest update. Again, 854 is the latest radar scan. We just got our new one. Here's the storm now. Again, it's moving right into Fort Worth. This is your hail core right here, moving right into the Fort Worth area near River Oaks and White Settlements. That, again, is your hail core. That's where we're watching for the threat of upwards of golf ball-sized hail. And that's moving right now into the Fort Worth area. So stay away from windows if you're in Fort Worth. And again, the damaging wind threat is beginning to enter in as well. This is as of 8:55. We'll have our next velocity scan in like 30 seconds. Or sooner. And we'll see where that main wind core is. We also going to take a closer look at the other radar site. Just a little bit more hard to see, but this would be the wind field right in here. So it'd be near Benbrook. It'd be where the highest wind speeds are right now. Here's that wind field. So see it right here near Benbrook. That's where the highest winds will be. There will also be some damaging winds, though, back near Fort Worth. So Got a couple areas to watch for. Dime-sized hail has just been reported west of Benbrook. Quarter-sized hail now being reported near White Settlement. So some new reports now out of the Fort Worth area. You have some large hail. Just got hammered with rain, but no hail in the Lowry Crossing. For the report. By the way, if you have any reports, feel free to leave those in the chat. I will be relaying at least some of them. Yeah, so far the highest hail that we've seen out of this storm is likely right around 2 inches in diameter. So 2 to 2.5 inches in diameter, but that was going to be back near the Springtown area. Most recently, the highest hail that we've had confirmed was, quarter size. Has not been nearly as large. Yeah, south of White Settlement, new report of, again, quarter-sized hail, dime-sized hail just west of Benbrook. The hail core, again, is going to be where you're seeing that pink color and the black color here in between Benbrook and a little bit north there, White Settlement, just south of 199. And this will be moving into Fort Worth over the next several minutes. And eventually after this, as the storm continues to move off to the east, it'll be moving toward Dallas County. We'll see if it lives all the way through Dallas County, but I do think this will become more of a organized line of storms. This will probably be absorbed by the line in this outflow boundary here, so overall I think this will become, again, more of an organized line of storms here pretty soon. Once that happens, this hail threat will really start to go down. The only reason why we're seeing so much hail out of this one is because it's more discrete than the other storms around it. These are all, linear. They're associated with an outflow boundary that's well out in front of the storms as well, so it's more of a damaging wind threat and a lot of lightning, by the way. But this storm, as long as it continues to roll into this other complex of storms back over in Dallas County, it will weaken as it gets closer to Dallas, but it's going to maintain its strength probably through Fort Worth at the bare minimum. Flooding indicator? Is there actually? There's a lot of rain falling, so, I mean, again, there will be a flooding threat overnight if you're anywhere in North Texas. Definitely be prepared for the flooding risk out of these storms for sure. There's definitely going to be some heavy rain that will potentially lead to, again, the flooding. We could see as much as 5 to 6 inches of rain in isolated locations tonight, by the way. It definitely could get pretty, crazy out there. Thank you, Samurai, for the 199. I appreciate that. Longview, Texas. You'll see storms probably a little bit after 11. Probably closer to like 12 to 1, though. Quick look at the future radar for those that are kind of curious. This is the most recent model run. This is 10 o'clock. I'll go to 10 o'clock. This is 8. But this is going to be 10 o'clock right here. So this is about 10 o'clock. Again, these storms, I think, this model, I think, is like an hour behind. So I mean, we can technically consider this about 9. This is by 10 o'clock. Storms will be moving through parts of southern DFW, back through Sulphur Springs. By 11, we'll have storms going into parts of southern North Texas and eastern North Texas. By midnight to 1 in the morning, we'll be seeing storms going through Waco, back through Killeen, Tyler, and Longview. Main concerns for those areas will be damaging winds overnight. And eventually going all the way into tomorrow morning, notice where this line of storms goes. It goes all the way down to Houston. We're actually going to see potentially at least some gusty winds down there. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of severe weather, though. This is one of the cyclone ports on Radar Omega, by the way. This is back over in Houston. So I have a good view of the storms tomorrow morning there. All right, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued. This is for Greenville and as well as Sulphur Springs. This is for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour and quarter-sized hail. So this is near, again, Sulphur Springs, Texas. Quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's going to become more of a concern as this line of storms begins to really ramp up back over, really across DFW and back up into northeast Texas. How's it going, Maps? Welcome back. Lightning show just north of Cleburne. Yeah, there's a lot of lightning. Lot of lightning. But I know a lot of you are excited, and I'm excited too. We're going to have a cool down for North Texas. If you've been looking forward to nicer weather, the cool down's coming by tomorrow. The high temperature is forecasted tomorrow in the 70s. perhaps a few 80s. Let me just double check here what the temperatures are forecasting now. Yeah, mid to upper 70s across North Texas tomorrow. On Friday, the high temperatures will creep up into the mid to upper 70s, maybe the low 80s. By Saturday, our low temperatures are going to dive into the 50s, perhaps even some 40s in North Texas. This is the current forecast, by the way. Just real quickly going to bring this up, and then we'll go back to the severe weather. But just want to give you something to look forward to, you know, with how things have been recently. I don't know what screen it is. Do I even have it? Oh, yeah, it is right there. One second. I'm using my Stream Deck. Right, there we go. This is what we're looking at. My computer's kind of freezing here. I have too many tabs open. I gotta close some stuff. That's what we're looking at, though, in terms of Saturday morning's low temperatures. Mid to upper 40s. Paris is going to dive to 46. It's going to get pretty cold. This would be Saturday for high temperatures. 70s for most areas. We might even see some upper 60s. So it's going to get pretty crazy. All right. We do have a new update on the... we actually have a flash flood warning that has just gone into effect. That's the wrong screen. My Stream Deck is really laggy. My OBS is not even taking up that much CPU. One moment. Oh, there we go. All right, here's what we're looking at in terms of the radar. But we do have a new flash flood warning that was just issued for the Dallas area. And that is because we've already seen about 1 inch of rain in a very short amount of time. 1 to 2 inches of rain are possible over the next few hours. So again, Dallas County is now in a flash flood warning. All right. 2.5 inch hail in Poolville. Do you have a photo of that? If you have a photo of that, let me know. I would not be surprised if we had that large of hail, though. Because that storm that was over there was producing some pretty ferocious hail at the time, even in Springtown. I think the hail overall, though, for Fort Worth has definitely gone down. This is what we're looking at now for hail. The correlation coefficient is still picking up on hail. And we've had recent reports around quarter-sized hail. It's overall way lower than before. Yeah, Benbrook, White Settlement. Those areas we're getting a lot of reports around, you know, dime size now. It's not nearly as large as before. The storm is running into the other storm activity, so the instability is becoming more limited, essentially, in nature. That's awesome, Bolden. That's awesome. Argyle, Texas weather. That's what it was called. That was back in, wasn't that? That was like early 2020. We changed it. I think it went to Denton County weather, and then it went to North Texas Weather Center. It's been crazy how it's grown. We actually, for those that are, you know, only on our YouTube page, our Facebook page, North Texas Weather Center, recently just hit 100,000 followers. So that page has been growing like crazy. Where do you send it? You can send it in via Facebook on Messenger. If you want to as well, you can email it with the email in the description below. All those links are in the description. I used to be Jumper. I used to be. I'm not anymore. I do love North Texas. It's awesome. Is this hitting Florida? This is not hitting Florida. At least today. There will be a cool down in Florida, though. I believe just a little bit after Saturday. I think by Sunday. Temperatures are going to drop by Sunday. Some low temperatures in the 50s across Florida. That's what I've at least heard. So, hopefully the drought starts to improve. This is going to improve the drought. I mean, there's no doubt about it. How drastically will it improve it? We'll kind of have to wait and see. But this is definitely going to be a big help because this is a lot of rain across all of North Texas. A lot of beneficial rain. It's really good news. You know, the drought's been really bad recently, so. Thank you, Bolden, for the $2 super chat. Congrats on the Facebook 100,000. It's technically followers, not subscribers. Subscribers are a different thing on Facebook. You actually have to pay to be a subscriber. It's like $4.99 a month, I think, on my page. It's a little bit different, but yeah, it's crazy. I would have never imagined it. It's really crazy stuff. We went from, by the way, we went from 34,000 to, wow, there was actually a dust devil in Decatur. But we went from 34,000 to 100,000 within like 11 months. Yeah, there is a photo, by the way, of a dust devil. Fortunately, I don't think I can find this person that had it, but I'm gonna retweet it on Twitter. Yeah, there was a dust devil in Decatur, so it wasn't a tornado, but it was a dust devil, and it literally picked up so much stuff in terms of like playground set and stuff. So there was a dust devil. I retweeted it on our Twitter page. You can check that out again at MaxVelocityWX. But yeah, there was a dust devil. I'm gonna see if I can find the person, but I doubt I will be able to. Crazy stuff, though. Can't believe there's actually, I mean, there was reports of it, but by the way, Parker County, we have 5,500 people without power as of now. That number could very well be potentially even higher than that at this point. We've yet to have any confirmation on that. Your hurricane coverage last year with winter weather? Yeah, winter weather definitely drove it up. We went from like 34,000 to 60-something thousand with the winter stuff. And then, yeah, severe weather season was crazy too. All right, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to include Fort Worth. It's also going to include parts of Dallas County. This is going to be for the main concern of ping pong ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. It also includes Burleson, near Waxahachie as well. So northern parts of Johnson County, northwest parts of Ellis County, southwest parts of Dallas County, and southeast parts of Tarrant County. So the hail threat's going down. The wind threat is now going down. So a lot of things are going down now. But we have a lot of warnings. I mean, we're going to see more of this intensify here as it moves into parts of southern and eastern Texas, or North Texas. We'll be watching for a damaging wind threat to really start to evolve. And the other thing we need to watch for is the hail threat. But I think that hail threat is overall going to go down. But we have a lot of lightning out there. That's one of the biggest things that I would say is really a concern, because there's going to be a frequent lightning. There might even be some, lightning strikes with that hit the ground and perhaps hit a house or something like that. It happens quite often in North Texas, since there are so many houses. So, just something to keep in mind. There are ads every like 2 minutes. Are there actually? I hit a setting. YouTube added some weird settings recently for monetization for streams, and I might have accidentally hit something, or it might have automatically been on. I can't even see it on my end, on here. I'll have to look at it after the stream. They shouldn't be every 2 minutes, though, if there were any ads. They should only be when you, like, join the stream. That'll be it. We got a great light show in Weatherford and heavy rain. Good to hear. Yeah, heavy rain's obviously going to be really exciting. You don't get ads ever? You might have an ad blocker if you don't get ads. Not getting any ads? I got you. I'll have to look into it. I mean, if they shouldn't be happening every 2 minutes, though. You might want to refresh your stream or something if that's happening, because that definitely shouldn't be happening. All right. Again, if you're just tuning in, there is a new severe thunderstorm warning for the Fort Worth area. The old warning just expired, expired. North Richland Hills, Fort Worth, Arlington, Cockrell Hill, as well as Duncanville, DeSoto, Irving, Midlothian, Venus, and Mansfield are all included again in that new severe thunderstorm warning. That goes until 10:15. Really pick up in Fort Worth right now? Yeah, it's going to pick up a lot over the next, like, 3 to 4 minutes. But obviously, after these storms are done, there's good news. Again, we're going to have a lot of rain overnight, beneficial rain for the most part. There will be some flash flooding in some areas. And then after that, big cool down this weekend. Again, highs into the 70s and lows into the 50s and 40s by Saturday morning. By the way, friendly reminder, we've been using Radar Omega throughout this entire live stream. If you want to check it out, you get lightning detection, the live radar feed, all the different types of radar that you can see down here at the bottom right of your screen. Again, it ranges from velocities to the live radar feed, correlation coefficient, has literally everything that you need, and as well as computer models, the satellite imagery, and a lot more. You can customize this to whatever you'd like. You can customize the warnings, the alerts. There's also things called cyclone ports, which are exclusive on Radar Omega, the live cam views. You can check all that stuff out with the top link in the description below. You can download this on your iOS and Android device. It's only $8.99 to install. Again, it's so worth it. 100% cannot recommend it enough. I mean, again, it's the best weather app on the market, in my opinion. So make sure to check it out. Again, top link in the description below. By the way, our moderator, Shelly, has her coffee in a max velocity mug. This is so cool. I love the mugs. They're really cool. And moderating the chat in the background. You can also pick up our merchandise, shopmaxvelocity.net. Really cool stuff. I want to throw that in there. She just sent that to me. Really high quality merch, by the way. If you need a hoodie, we are also selling hoodies now. There will be a beanie hat out pretty soon too. Is there any rotation with any of these storms? We're not looking at any rotation. It's all straight line winds at this point. Now, I'll get the mug, but I really don't need... I don't really drink coffee. And if I drink coffee, it's usually like, you know, Starbucks. So, that's pretty rare even when that happens. How's it going, Guy? Welcome back. Radar Omega is so good. Yeah, I mean, everybody that I've ever talked to loves Radar Omega. I don't know if I've ever talked to somebody that doesn't. No, and I talked to a pretty good amount of people, so no, it's a really good radar app. It's really the best one on the market. It has literally everything. And one of the new features they added recently, by the way, was the 3D radar. So if you want to go 3D with a storm, you can do that. Problem is my computer is kind of glitching out because I have so many tabs open. Yeah, it's lagging like crazy. I'm having an encoding overload. And now I'm frozen. And I'm back. Alright, I'm actually going to close this out so I don't have to crash my computer here. But you actually see the lightning, by the way, at the bottom right of your screen in Lantana, Texas. But, yeah, they have a 3D radar. It's really cool. You can see, like, a 3D view of these storms and see the hail cores and the rotation. Debris balls sometimes will show up on there if there's a tornado. So, really cool stuff. I would definitely use it, but, again, my computer's having some issues tonight. I am actually, by the way, it's a laptop. I am getting this checked out tomorrow by one of my friends. So, hopefully I can fix this laptop so it actually runs better. So, I don't have these issues. It's been getting pretty bad recently. Thank you, Guy, by the way, for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, Guy. Appreciate your generosity. JD, I don't think the supplier that I have has those, but I can definitely double check. Because I would actually get one of those if they did, but I don't know if they do. I'll have to check. What's the deal with Lake Louisville? You'll get some rain overnight, don't worry. I know, again, some of these areas, you get lucky, sometimes you don't. You know, the storms have kind of gone around you, it looks like at this point. It happens, you know. Whatever reason. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. It's like, you know, sometimes like the lottery. Sometimes you'll get lucky, sometimes you don't. We also have another flash flood warning that's just been issued for DFW. And also, still have that severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, flash flooding will be a concern tonight. And I know a lot of you that are in North Texas are probably like, how in the world are there flash flood warnings? We haven't seen rain in so long. It's because we haven't seen rain in so long. The ground is so dry. I mean, the rain can definitely accumulate much faster, and especially with the rainfall rates that are expected overnight, we're looking at rainfall rates upwards of, you know, 1 to 2, maybe even 3 inches an hour. So that can really get up there pretty quickly. The overall rainfall totals in the DFW Metroplex will probably be overall, you know, between 2 to 4 inches of rain. That's kind of my guesstimate. If you're back over northeast Texas, there's a chance we could get upwards of some isolated locations around 8 inches of rain, because this activity is going to be more stationary. So there is definitely a chance for upwards of like an isolated spot being between 5 to 8 inches. Most of this area will be between 2 to 4 inches. Denton County might inch out maybe like, an inch or to 2, maybe 3 inches of rain. It'll probably be a bit lower in Denton County, but that's what we're looking at in terms of rainfall totals. Thank you, James, for the 669. I appreciate the generous 669. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let me go over to Twitter real quick. A plushie tornado? That would be interesting. I'm pretty sure those are out there already, but I could be wrong. Tornado plushie. I'd be surprised if they weren't out there. Yeah, those do exist. They're on Etsy. They're also on Amazon. They don't look very good, but they do exist. You ever want a tornado plushie? You can probably get one. Not very affordable. I mean, they're like $20 though. Kind of on the higher end of things when it comes to a plushie. Doesn't rain in Denton. What? Yeah, I mean, sometimes Denton County misses out on everything. Max Velocity running shoes. That'd be a pretty good branding thing. Velocity's fast. The lightning, though, is really dying out, though, on this storm in DFW. It is really dying out now. Not really seeing as much lightning. A lot more lightning near Commerce and Rockwall. More zoomed out look, but there's a lot less lightning there, though. How fast are the storms moving? They're overall moving at around 30 to 40 miles per hour, depending on where you're at. The storm over in DFW is moving 35 miles per hour. The Gainesville storm's 30. The storms, though, that are like in Dallas are moving very slowly. They're moving about 30 probably to the east, but they're moving very slowly south of that outflow boundary. That's basically correlating to a lot more rainfall in Dallas, and that's why we have that flash flood warning ongoing. So why is Max Velocity as your channel name? If you are somebody that watches us on Facebook, this page went nationwide back in like June of last year. It was originally North Texas Weather Center, then went nationwide, so it's Max Velocity, just a general name. And then our YouTube or our Facebook page is still the same, and it's not gonna. Facebook's not gonna change. It's gonna stay as North Texas Weather Center. I might expand it a little bit in Texas, but I'm not gonna go nationwide on that page. Bad here in Fort Worth. What's with the red and blue lightning? The red and blue lightning. I have to see a video of what you're talking about. There might be some transformer flashes. That's entirely possible. Like, that might be what it's coming from, but I cannot tell, Jenny. I would have to really zoom into that. I'll have to look after. I don't know if you're watching the stream. Pretty typical, though, to see blue flash the lightning at night. More of like a very light blue color. Red could be from possibly a transformer blowing, but I'd have to again see a video to see what it actually looks like. I don't know how red you're talking. What's going on over the weekend? Again, cooler weather. High temps in the 70s, lows in the 50s, some low temps in the 40s on Saturday. It's gonna get pretty cool. Pretty nice weekend ahead. Overall, nice weekend. Ponder, Texas heard sirens about 4 minutes ago. Any idea why? If you heard sirens, isn't Ponder in Denton County? I would have no clue why. If you're in Ponder. Any rotation in Commerce? No. Yeah, there really isn't any rotation in this area. It's all straight line wind threat at this point. If there was a tornado, again, I'd be kind of a little bit surprised, to be honest, but I kind of doubt that we'll see, a tornado out of any of this activity. It's a pretty low chance if we, saw any. Pretty low chance overall. My area has sirens just for the big storms. Yeah, I mean, usually the tornado, usually tornado sirens only go off for tornadoes. They do occasionally go off though for severe storms. Just depends on where you are. Some counties are different. Some cities are different. So. I type really fast. All right. I do a lot of multitasking. Yeah, if the tornado sirens are going off in Arlington, it's because of the severe storm, and it's not because of a tornado. So, again, tornado sirens, they will go off for tornado warnings typically, but a lot of the time in the DFW area and across most of North Texas, they go off even for hailstorms or high wind situations. So, and honestly, I think it's a somewhat good thing, because whenever we have damaging winds, trees could fall down, and they could fall into a home. So that's one of the biggest things, when a tree falls down into a home, if you're sleeping on the second floor, it could literally land on you. That's one of the big things, and that's one thing that some people don't really always know about. That's good. You're a good Tucker. Thank you. But yeah, that's one of the biggest things, and hail as well. Hail can go into windows sometimes, so it's always a good thing when those sirens, honestly, in my opinion, go off for, even windstorms. Max velocity hail gauge? I'm not making a hail gauge. I do not have the time to make a hail gauge. I am so busy to begin with. It's unbelievable. Literally, this has been one of the more stressful weeks I've had. I mean, I'm so busy. It's crazy. Taking some photos of, like, some people are not very happy about not seeing any rainfall. Some big holes. Big hole over Collin County now. There was some rain there a little while ago, but I need a marketing director. I do not need a marketing director. I just need time. I love doing things on my own, but man, I don't have enough time. I'm so busy. Very, very busy. Because I'm doing college full time. I'm doing this pretty much full time too. It's busy. We had a confirmation, by the way, of a 76-mile-per-hour wind gust in West Worth, Texas. Little update there. West Worth, Texas, again, a 76-mile-per-hour wind gust. That was just west of DFW. Wow. But we did get up there, 76 miles per hour. And at the time, by the way, I was mentioning, like, that wind core that we had there was upwards of, like, 80 on radar. So I'm not honestly surprised that we got upwards of 75 miles per hour there. Weatherford gearing up again. It's really just heavy rain. Might be a little bit of lightning, but posting this. Any tornado potential in Fort Worth? No. Really, there's none. I mean, really, we're looking at high winds. Maybe a brief tornado, but if that were to happen, it would have to probably be east or south of Fort Worth at this point, because the main storm activity is moving through you right now. Power's flickering here in Forney. Get the report. Yes, this storm is producing hail still. It's upwards of ping pong ball size, but it's probably under quarter size at this point. I don't think we have a whole lot of hail left with this storm in particular. It's overall a weakening storm, because now it's basically becoming aligned with this line that's trying to form. And once that happens, we're not really going to see a whole lot more hail tonight. It's going to be more of a wind threat. I don't know how many inches we're down on rain this year. It depends on what location, but a lot of areas are down like 8 to 10 inches of rain in North Texas. Might even be higher at this point. Halo, I am a meteorology major. How long do you think the storm will go on for? These will go for a little bit. I mean, these storms in DFW, they're not going to be really moving anytime soon. Dallas could see or potentially even pick up another 2 to 3 inches of rain. I mean, we're going to see a lot of rainfall in Dallas County and Rockwall. These storms are moving literally west to east, and they're forming down to the south, so it's going to keep leading to more heavy rainfall. We could get upwards of 5 inches of rain in Dallas County before this night's over. It's definitely not out of the question. So, yeah, it's entirely possible. Consistent heavy rain. Yeah, no tornado potential really in DFW anymore. The only area that we'd have an isolated tornado would, again, be southeast of Dallas. That's pretty much it, though. And friend, the reminder, if you're just tuning in for the first time, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's free to do. It's that red button down below. Click the bell icon as well so you get notified with the latest live streams. And again, if you want to purchase the Radar Omega app, that's what we've been using throughout this entire live stream. It's fantastic. You can get it on your iOS or Android device. At the top link in the description below has the radar. It also has the computer models, has satellite imagery. You can customize it to your liking. And again, on iOS and Android, it's the best $8.99 that you'll spend. The top link in the description below on iOS and Android. Again, I highly recommend it. That's what we've been using throughout this entire live stream. It has all sorts of cyclone ports too. We haven't been using any of the cyclone ports, but they have a huge network of these live cams that you can look at across the country. One of the coolest ones, by the way, that they have is back over here in California. The sun is set, but you can see here the mountain here. During the day, it's really cool, and even at sunset, it's also really cool. So, got a little cool feature there. That's in Northern California. So, again, download it. Top link in the description below. It's on iOS and Android, Radar Omega. And again, I appreciate them sponsoring today's live stream. It does help out a ton. I used to use WSV3. But honestly, this tops it by a a huge margin. Like, honestly, I'm being brutally honest. Like, it's way better, in my opinion. It's just, you know, in a lot of ways. I felt like WSV3 was way too glitchy and just was too slow for my liking. And when I got this and started using it, I mean, it's a massive difference. Where in Northern California is that located? It's just north of Redding, that particular one. And get the exact location you'd like. It's near McLeod. Sirens are going off in Dallas. Again, if sirens are going off, it's because of the wind and the hail threat. The severe thunderstorm warning, but... Go back up there. I do apologize. My computer is very laggy right now. I have to get it fixed. That is Mount Shasta, Chamber of Commerce. That's the location. Looks like a pretty cool mountain. Yeah, during the daytime, it's really cool. Arkansas weather. If you're back up in Arkansas, I'm not really concerned about your weather. It's really just mainly rain. Maybe a couple of storms, but gusty winds would be really my only concern. As a Weatherford chatter said, great light show and heavy rain. I 100% agree. A lot of rain, beneficial rain, and I'm glad we got this. It's been a long time since we've really seen any crazy rainfall in North Texas. Been very hit or miss recently, but with El Nino, again, winter will be interesting. And one thing I do urge you to do is make sure you're subscribed to our channel, especially if you live in North Texas or even Texas. I am probably going to be uploading a Texas winter weather forecast, most likely in the upcoming weeks. I have not yet made it, but I do plan on doing at least around a 4 to 5 minute winter forecast just for Texas on this channel. So just want to throw that out there. That will be coming soon. Last year I did an article for it. I actually might do that again this year, but I'll probably do a forecast for it too if I do have the time for it. So, is this guy AI? I'm not AI. The fact that people have to ask about that nowadays is just crazy. I know I talk fast, but I'm not an AI. Let's check Twitter, see if there's any other updates. I haven't had any other updates recently. But I'm doing the AI stuff again. That was actually brought up in the last live stream. We had some... It was randomly brought up that, you know, are you AI? I was like, no, I'm not an AI. Have a good night, Haley. Appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, usually El Nino for summers makes it hot and dry if you're in Texas. All right, 1 second. If you have any other questions, by the way, feel free to leave those in the chat. I'll be answering a few questions. Doing a lot of typing. Again, I do a lot of multitasking, especially for these Texas live streams, because, again, I have North Texas Weather Center on Facebook, so I have to do a lot of stuff. All right. Hopefully by the spring, I'll have somebody actually helping me on that end. And yeah, because I do a lot of multitasking whenever I'm doing North Texas weather stuff. Arlington tornado chances, it's pretty much 0 at this point. Again, if you're in the DFW Metroplex, I'm really not concerned about a tornado at this point. In my opinion, I don't think we're going to see a tornado in the, again, DFW area. One area to watch for will be right here, near Midlothian. There is actually an area here that is rotating. We have a hook here, too. Go to this radar site. Yeah, we might get a tornado warning on this. There is rotation here. This is near Midlothian. Here in Midlothian, I would get to your safe place. We definitely have rotation that's been developing here. It's over near the Britain area as well. That's moving east, southeast. Yeah, that is definitely rotation. Going to the tornado possible label, just in case, because that is definitely rotating. And we have a hook echo clearly on radar right here. That's your hook, inflow going to the storm. Again, possibility for a tornado does exist right here. Again, that is a little bit of rotation. Watch this pretty closely, though. Yeah, that's the velocities right there. Definitely a little bit of rotation there. It's not much, but there is a little bit. I kind of saw the corner of my eye about a few minutes ago when it was closer to Mansfield, but yeah, there's definitely a little bit of rotation there. Thank you, Janice, for the very generous $20 super chat. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much. To help with school so I can see you on TV. I appreciate that. Thank you. Really appreciate your generosity. College is not cheap. I do appreciate your generosity. Let me see if I missed anything here. Arlington uses sirens for hail 1.5 inches or larger and winds 70 miles per hour or higher. Good to know. Yeah, a lot of towns and cities do vary quite a bit. So, again, some places they're like, you know, just quarter-sized hail. Some places are, you know, a certain wind speed. They all vary. So. We go back to this radar site again. Again, that is rotation right there. It's located over 287. If we got a tornado, it would be right in there. So, again, we're going to watch this very closely as it moves to the east. Any rotation near Weatherford, Parker County, or Fort Worth? No. The only rotation that we have, really, I would say right now is this. And it's a little bit on the weak side, but it's definitely representable here. And it'll be something to watch for as it moves down to the east-southeast. And that'll be impacting Midlothian, Texas over the next few minutes. Oh my goodness. We have a flying trampoline. We officially have a flying trampoline. And I'm going to show you a photo once I find the right text to send this person, because I can't find it. I can't find it. All right. One of the poles of the trampoline went right through the roof. I'll show that to you guys in a second. Flying trampoline has been confirmed now. Thank you, Mafia, for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. See the hook that you're looking at? It's a classic hook. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like classic, but it's a typical hook that you get embedded in these clusters. Because this isn't like a discrete supercell by any means, but with a little line segment that we have, it's pretty typical. This is the latest radar scan. So again, if there's rotation, it would be right over 287. Let's check it out. The latest radar scan hasn't come in yet. We have to wait a second. But if there's rotation, it'd be located right about where that black circle is. Give or take a little bit of distance. Yeah, that is intensifying quite quickly. Again, I would not be surprised if we got a tornado warning on this at some point in the next minute. That is rotation right there over about to approach Midlothian. And if you're in this area, I would definitely stay away from windows. We very well could get a tornado here at literally any moment. But yeah, that is a strong pocket of rotation. See if I can... This is also rain wrap, by the way, so don't look outside if you're in this area. It's rain wrapped area of rotation. Yeah, that's some pretty strong rotation. There's your tornado warning. Brand new tornado warning. This is going to include a pretty large area here. This is going to be for DeSoto, Lancaster, near Cedar Hill, Midlothian, Pecan Hill, excuse me, as well as Waxahachie. Seek shelter immediately. Away from windows and lowest floor possible if you're in this warning. Again, this could drop a tornado at any time, so get to your safe place immediately, away from windows and on the lowest floor possible if you're included in this warning. I'm going to take a screenshot of this as well. It's a very classic looking storm here embedded in this line. And this is a very intense area of rotation. Let's go to the velocities again. Right there is your area of rotation. Right here. Very strong area of rotation. It's stronger than it might look, but that's pretty strong rotation. At bare minimum, we're looking at damaging winds, but that is a strong pocket of rotation. Again, this is heading toward Oakleaf, Pecan Hill, but Midlothian, you need to be in your safe place immediately. Back over near DeSoto, Lancaster, Wilmer, Ferris, Palmer, Garrett, Ennis, and Pecan Hill and Oakleaf. You all need to be getting to your safe place in the next minute or two if you're up here off to the far east of this warning, so in the far eastern part of the warning near Interstate 45. You got a few minutes, but I'll definitely seek shelter. Waxahachie, you need to be in your safe place in the next couple minutes. Again, this is your pocket of rotation. Pretty strong area of rotation moving to the east. And again, this could very easily drop a tornado at any time as it moves to the east. The correlation coefficient is actually indicating a small little area there of green. I don't think that's a tornado, but again, we very well easily could see a tornado here at any time. And seek shelter, away from windows and lowest floor possible if you're in this warning. If you know anybody in this warning, make sure you give them a call or text and make sure they're all right, because again, we're getting close to around the, you know, going to bed sort of time right now. So it's getting pretty close to bedtime for some people, and this very easily could be happening while they're in bed. All right, here's the latest radar scan. Right there is your rotation. It's actually taken a left-hand turn. Let's check this out. So this is the 944 radar scan. This is 941. We have not had a radar update on the correlation coefficient or the high-res reflectivity here yet. So once we get those, we'll have a better idea what's happening here. But that right there would be this could be a tornado on the ground, but we don't have any confirmation yet. We have to see the correlation coefficient. Trying to get that update as soon as possible. We're refreshing constantly. And that area of rotation is what we're looking at. It's right there. Again, that is a possible tornado ongoing northwest of Midlothian. The one good part about this is if it is going north, this is likely to weaken very quickly because this is the direction it should be going. When we have a left-hand turn, they usually weaken very quickly. But obviously, it's concerning if there is a tornado on the ground here. Unfortunately, the radar scan has not yet come in. Again, we were hoping to get as soon as possible. I do cover the entire United States, yes. For the person that was asking. Yeah, we might have a tornado ongoing. I'm trying to get a better view of this. Again, that is strong rotation. This would be where your tornado is located. It's going to be just west of Midlothian. This is taking a pretty sharp left-hand turn, though. So if there's a tornado, again, it would probably be on the briefer side of things. Has there been any confirmation of this? Trying to see if we have any other view. Here's the let me take up the smoothing real quick. This is what the storm actually looks like. Again, this looks like wow, look at this thing. Holy crap. Look at this thing right here. That is a huge hook, strong inflow. Tornado would be located right there if we had one, which is going to be near Midlothian. Velocity scan should come in here in a second. But yeah, this is a nasty looking hook right now. Very intense. Really defined. Look at this right here. Outflow boundary, very strong. But yeah, we have a serious hook echo with the storm right now. Again, there could be a tornado at any time. If we have any new velocities update. Yeah, here's your velocities, and it looks like for the time being, the velocities have weakened out. That one little area that I showed you a second ago, right here, you really can barely see it. It goes kind of quick, but you'll see it right here. That was the area that we had a really quick left-hand turn of that rotation. There may have been a tornado there briefly. Latest radar scan is showing that there's not any rotation anymore, but that could change. We're going to wait and see, because this is a very defined hook right here. And that's your inflow going to the storm. Tornado would be located there if we got one. And this would likely be rain-wrapped. So again, if you're included in this warning, seek shelter away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. And there is potentially a tornado, or there potentially was a tornado moments ago. There was a little bit of a correlation coefficient drop there, which means debris was being lifted up, perhaps, about 5 minutes ago or so. Again, stay in your safe place, away from windows, lowest floor possible. If you're in Waxahachie, Pecan Hill, or Oak Leaf, you got a couple of minutes, but obviously if it's not an emergency, you should get to your safe place. A little bit dangerous at this point, especially as the storm moves off to the east. One thing that's for sure, though, even if there is not a tornado here, we are looking at damaging winds around 70 miles per hour. So that's definitely a big concern here as this moves off to the east. But next radar scan should kind of tell us if this is trying to intensify again or not. But this is definitely a intense storm, to say the least, with how this has looked on radar. This is a much better view of it. I like it on this non-smooth feature, so you can see it better, the inflow and whatnot. This is a much better view here of the inflow. Again, the hook right here. This is your hook right in here. That's your hook echo, your inflow. Very classic looking, rotation on radar. But obviously it has weakened a little bit on the velocities. New radar scan coming in approximately a minute. Here's a zoomed out look. Again, this is the one area that we're looking at in terms of rotation. This really popped up out of nowhere. I mentioned it probably about 7 minutes before the tornado ring happened, that there was a little bit of rotation there, but, this thing blew up really quickly. It's very interesting. Again, the tornado warning is that pink box that you see on your screen. Pink, purple, same sort of thing. This is, again, just south of Dallas. This includes southern Dallas County and Ellis County. So Lancaster, Wilmer, DeSoto. Cedar Hill's kind of on the cusp of it, but you're not really in it. I don't think Cedar Hill's going to be in the track of this. Oak Leaf, Pecan Hill, Waxahachie, Palmer, Garrett, Ennis, Ferris, Wilmer, all in the track of this tornado-warned storm. All right, here's the latest radar scan. Yeah, we still have that hook shape on this. Inflow going into the storm, very clearly shown there. And again, this is going to be moving toward Pecan Hill and Waxahachie. Let's go to the velocities here. And again, I'm not seeing anything in particular that's that intense anymore. We could see this recycle, and what that essentially means is that the rotation might kick back up again and actually become strong. There is a bit of probably a little bit of a lull in what that'll be for the next few minutes, but we might see it try to redevelop again, because again, very strong inflow, which helps to spur up the rotation. And once we get that, if we get enough of a hook, enough of an inflow, we could very well easily see a tornado with this. But right now, I'm not seeing really anything in particular with this storm that is showing off to be, rotating as of right now. But we very well could see that change in the next few minutes. Let's go to the close-up radar site as well, because this does show it a little bit as well. Yeah, you can see it here. Rotation's going to be on the north side, basically Midlothian, but it's overall weak. But we'll see if it tries to redevelop here in the next few minutes. But again, this might have produced a tornado like 3 or 4 minutes ago. There was a time there where it was strong and pretty tight. So we actually could have had a tornado there in between Midlothian and Britain. But definitely a chance that it redevelops, because again, it's a pretty classic looking shape here. You got your hook, your inflow, tornado. Again, if there was one, it would be located near Midlothian. So basically what we're looking at right now with this storm. If you're a truck driver, by the way, you should be, getting off the road, pulling over. Be very dangerous to be driving with this sort of conditions, because there will be damaging winds in this pocket as well. So even if there's not a tornado, we're probably gonna have damaging winds around 70 miles per hour. My boss is in Palmer and she's not answering. I mean, Palmer's still a good ways away from this, but obviously not a good sign, because they might be sleeping. Yeah, this is trying to start up again. All right, here's the latest radar scan. Still going. We still have a pretty strong inflow right now. And again, this is your hook right here. So again, tornado very easily could happen. It's now, if there is any tornado or any rotation, it's going to be on the northern side or over the central side here of Midlothian. New radar scan is going to come in here in a second for the velocities, so we'll see if that's developed at all. The severe thunderstorm watch is still ongoing for a large chunk of North Texas, but it has been condensed. Wichita Falls no longer included in that. And Abilene also not in a watch anymore. Just a little update there. All right, let's go to the velocities. They should be updated by now. Yeah, I mean, this might not be on the ground right now, but we have a very strong wind field here. Let me check and see what it looks like on this as well. Yeah, there's a chance right over Midlothian right now. We could even have a microburst happening right now. And what that means, if there is one, which is entirely possible, the radar is estimating around 80-mile-per-hour winds very suddenly. This could be a microburst, which means a very brief stint of downburst winds. And that could be, obviously, as damaging as like a low-end tornado. So that's entirely possible here on this storm. But again, it's a bit unknown right now on that end, but it's entirely possible. The velocities are very high now in that area over Midlothian. When we see these orange colors, that's representing, again, winds exceeding 60, 70, 80 miles per hour in some cases. And this is a live view of the bomb radar screen in Lantana, Texas. That is not in your tornado warning. That is back up in Denton County, so north. McKinney is not going to see a tornado tonight, no. You're all rain at this point. The only area that I have a concern about a tornado right now would be out of these storms that are south and east of DFW. And this is one of them. And this was, again, a bit of a surprise. This is the scan over the last several minutes. You kind of see how that hook has evolved. It is still pretty intense. We'll see if that inflow gets cut off. If the inflow gets cut off, I don't think this can have much of a chance of a tornado. But if it maintains that hook, we'll have a potential there for a tornado for sure. The velocities, again, really crazy how strong the winds are. We don't have a whole lot of rotation, though, as in the winds going toward the radar are not very strong. The ones going away from the radar are very strong, but we don't have any tight, combined area of rotation, which would indicate a tornado right now. We did about 10 minutes ago, but not right now. But it could recycle. Let me check and see if we have any other updates on here. By the way, if you have any photos or videos, you can feel free to send them in to us on Facebook or on Twitter. Again, those links are in the description below. And make sure you're taking any photos or videos very safely. And again, if you are in this tornado warning right now, anywhere in the purple or pink box, you're going to want to make sure you are seeking shelter, away from windows, and on the lowest floor possible. Interior room of your home or building, away from windows. If you're in an apartment building and you know a friend on the first floor and you know they're there, and give them a text real quick and make sure that they're actually there, and then go to the first floor. You're on like the second or third floor. All right, here's the latest radar scan. Again, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of rotation here. It looks to be more of a wind threat over Midlothian. Here's the latest radar scan. Again, still a very sharp inflow right now. It's a really impressive inflow. What we have here. This is a slot. Like this slot that you see here. That is an inflow going into the storm, and that helps to rotate the overall supercell. And that would be where the tornado would be located if we had one over Midlothian. That's the area to watch for still if this can try to recycle. But the rotation itself right now is definitely on the weaker side of things. It's more of a wind threat over Midlothian, around 70 to 80 mile per hour winds perhaps in that center. So definitely very interesting what we're seeing here. But if there is a tornado, it would be definitely rain wrapped. So definitely don't be outside. Don't try to be looking for it. Just not worth it. Especially if it does end up dropping out of nowhere. It's entirely possible with this sort of environment. Here's the other radar site. You can see the big gap here too. I mean, it doesn't seem as if there's a whole lot of rotation here. Looks to be turning into more of a wind threat. But again, it could recycle, especially with how this inflow looks. But again, this is one of the more intense supercells that we've seen possibly all week long across the United States. I got a screenshot of it just for history reference at this point. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning now. That's going to include areas south of here. So that goes for Hillsborough, Blooming Grove, Cleburne. 60 mile per hour damaging winds, quarter-sized hail are all possible. Here's that correlation coefficient, by the way. So again, no debris being lifted up right now, which means that there's not a tornado at this given time. But again, one could drop at some point, at any time really still, but the rotation's definitely weaker than before. But if you're in Oak Leaf, Pecan Hill, Waxahachie, you need to be in your safe place in the next, really, 30 seconds to a minute as the storm approaches. DeSoto, Cedar Hill, you should be in your safe place as well. The rotation will stay probably down your south, but it's always a good idea to just be, in your safe place in case there are some damaging winds in that area. Lancaster, same story for you, Wilmer. Let's still stay weather aware up there, even though you're not really in the direct path right now of the rotation. It's going more east. You can always see a left-hand turn, though, and it sometimes goes off to the north, so that might be something to watch out for long-term. Bad vibes in Oak Leaf. Yeah, Oak Leaf is kind of in the path of this right now. Here's the latest radar scan. We still have a pretty clean inflow, by the way. So, still an inflow for sure. Here's your hook. One thing that we're looking at, though, very closely would be the rotation on radar. This is as of 9:56, so it's not updated yet. We should have an update on the velocities here right now. So here's the latest update. At this point, it seems as if the rotation's pretty much died out because I'm not seeing any really recycling here, even with that inflow there. We're seeing a pretty decent wind core over Midlothian, which is definitely going to be capable of 70 to 80 mile per hour damaging winds. But really where we would need a tornado at this point would be up here. Let's check out the velocities. And yeah, they're very weak right now. Still stay in your safe place because there are high winds, upwards of, again, 70 to 80 miles per hour. That's like an EFC or tornado, by the way. But right now, I'm not seeing anything definitively here that is indicating that we have a imminent tornado. even though we did have very strong rotation at one point, perhaps a tornado at the very beginning of this cycle. But regardless, crazy storm here. Yeah, go back over to here. See if we have any other updates. And this tornado warning is going until 10:30, so another 29 minutes. They could cancel it early if it doesn't really transpire in anything, just for an FYI. Yeah, this storm, I mean, the way it looks on radar is pretty crazy. Very strong inflow. Waxahachie is pretty populated. We've had tornadoes in the past in Waxahachie, like actually kind of recently. We had one, so Waxahachie is an area that has definitely been under the gun there for some tornadic activity. It's a pretty populated area too. New update on the tornado warning. It is still ongoing. It still does include southern Dallas County and Ellis County. Again, update on the tornado warning. It still does include Ferris, Pecan Hill, Palmer, Waxahachie, Midlothian are all still included in this tornado warning. Yeah, this has been a beast of a storm. Large area of intense winds by Cleburne on a velocity scan. Let me check it out. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell exactly with this, because this could just be perhaps... I mean, this might not be that high of winds. Let me look at my other radar here real quick. Look at the storm relative velocities. Now, I'd say really where the winds are going to be on the leading edge of this area of storms. So it'd be more like in this area for the damaging wind threat more than anything. But there might be some high winds around Cleburne too. I don't think it's going to be like 70 to 80 as it's indicating on radar, but it's still probably up there. Here's the latest radar scan. Again, the rotations become very broad. This is a pocket of wind. This is a pocket of wind. There's a huge separation between the two. I mean, it's a huge area. So right now, we're really not looking at any crazy rotation anymore with this. Even though we still have a pretty crazy storm on radar, it is definitely weakened in terms of its rotation. But damaging winds is definitely still possible here. Stay in your safe place away from windows and get on the lowest floor possible. If you are currently included in the Waxahachie area, Pecan Hill, Palmer, Garrett, or Ferris, or Ennis. But again, as this moves down to the east-southeast, I do think over time, I think this is going to continue to weaken out and become, again, more of a line of storms as it was before. It was trying to form into a line of storms, and now we're kind of going back to, you know, that tornado situation there, but I think overall we're going to start going back probably to a damaging wind threat. Still something to watch for, though, over the next few minutes. We'll still see if it tries to re-strengthen, but we will see what happens. Let me check Twitter and see if we have any other updates. Any of the reports? Yeah, if you have any reports of your own, you can feel free to leave those in the chat. The inflow on the ground is actually kind of interesting. I mean, like an inflow when you're on the ground, like Storm Chaser or something, you'll feel very strong winds. You know, that's more of what we're looking at, like very strong wind field, basically. That's pretty much what this is a strong area of wind. So it'll be coming from like the southeast and going, coming out of the east, and then, you know, at the ground, you can feel the strong winds. It's pretty interesting. But, you know, inside the storm and where the rotation actually is, it can be definitely a little bit different. Kind of like a hurricane almost, you know? You have a tornado that's kind of spinning like this, and then if you have winds going like that, you know, that's sort of what happens with hurricanes. But they're a bit different. Hurricane actually has an eye, and then you have the winds on the outside like this. It's a bit more like, you know, uniform around one thing, but it's kind of maybe the feeling that you might get if you're in one of those inflows. There's a lot of lightning, just kind of for reference here. We have a boatload of lightning across this entire line of storms, so a lot of lightning near Sulphur Springs, upwards of possibly 100 strikes per minute, might even be higher than that. It's pretty crazy stuff up there. Here's the latest radar scan. This is as of 10:02. We'll have another radar scan here in a second. Glad you enjoy, Kara. Glad I can help you out. Plum, Texas. All right, talking about this. I saw this before. To be honest, I wasn't really too concerned about this little pocket of rotation, and yeah, it's died out. Was it stronger before that scan, or before the past two scans? Let me check. Yeah, overall, it's not much. I'm gonna loop here. Yeah, it wasn't really much there. There was some rotation, but again, I glanced over it, and I kind of was like, doesn't look like anything too concerning right now. So, yeah, it died out pretty quickly. I don't even know if that was really rotation. I would have to look at the other. I don't know if there's a radar site to the south. Let me just double check. I know there's one down here somewhere. College Station and Round Rock are the closest two. Yeah, they're not going to help. So, yeah, there's a little bit of rotation there, but it wasn't really much. Yeah, the tornado warning is continuing for the time being for southern Dallas County. It's really the southern sliver. It's in Lancaster and DeSoto, by the way. You can get out of your safe place. You're no longer included. Oakleaf, Pecan Hill, Waxahachie, Palmer, Garrett, Ennis, Ferris, and really, if you're on the eastern side of Midlothian, I would stay in your safe place, but those are the areas that still need to be in your safe place and away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. Again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Cleburne, Blooming Grove, Hillsborough, Italy, Interstate 35, and as well as Interstate 35 West. West and East, basically, included in this warning. And that's for Ellis County. And it's really the main area included, again, in that tornado warning. But Johnson County, Ellis County, both included in that severe thunderstorm warning right now. Cleburne will not see a tornado, but you'll have a lot of lightning for the next little while. That is for sure. Gaming, I have no clue where that is, but if you're like in the downtown area of Midlothian, in about like 5 minutes, you'll probably be clear. I mean, the rotation itself, again, is very broad out. It's broadened out a lot, and it's not organized anymore, but I'd still stay in your safe place for at least another, couple minutes, just in case something sporadically happens. But overall, I think you'll be all right. What about near New Boston? New Boston's more of a, if you see severe weather, it's more of a wind threat. The other thing I'd be watching out for, though, is the flooding threat. That'll definitely ramp up, for sure, tonight across much of North Texas. And there is a moderate risk of excessive rainfall, so it doesn't happen very often. If you're anywhere in the DFW Metroplex tonight, what you need to expect overnight is just rain. That's really the biggest thing. I don't think we're going to see any, tornadoes or any more severe weather, to be honest. Here's the latest radar scan. We're going to go back to the velocities here in a second. Gotta check something real quick. Any tornado chance in Mansfield? No. We're done with that threat as well tonight. Is this the first tornado? We had a dust devil earlier in near Decatur. That obviously doesn't classify as a tornado. This might have been a tornado. It's not confirmed. There was strong rotation earlier, so it's entirely possible, but it has not been confirmed at this point. This is the first tornado warning of the entire day, I believe. I don't think we've had any others. I could be wrong on that, but I do not think we've had any other tornado warnings. If somebody has heard of another one, let me know, but I'm pretty sure we haven't had any others. Any pictures of the dust devil? I retweeted a video of it on Twitter. You can check it out on my Twitter page at MaxVelocityWX, but I don't have any photos. How many viewers I have in North Texas? I was actually kind of surprised I didn't get anything sent in on that. It looked to be pretty isolated. It only looked like it impacted like one house, maybe a couple, but I was going potato. Yeah, there's a video on Twitter of it. Or X, whatever you want to call it. Again, rotation's dying out with this. Stay in your safe place until this warning is officially canceled, but the rotation is definitely much, much weaker than before. Again, I'm doing a lot of multitasking, so 1 second. Gotta post this to Facebook. Alright. And there will not be another line of storms. The stuff behind it is mostly just rain. Might be a few rumbles of thunder, but it's not going to be anything too crazy. So, I'm not really concerned about anything behind this area of storms, other than the heavy rainfall that could lead to some flooding. That'd be something to watch out for. Latest radar scan just came in. We still have an inflow on this, but the outflow, I believe the outflow boundary is kind of impacting the development of this at this point. Keep the Starlink updates in the future. I post Starlink updates whenever I can on Facebook. I don't think we had one tonight. Even if we did, it's too cloudy. There's no good visibility over the next few days, fortunately. There was one tonight, but again, it's been raining, so you wouldn't have been able to see it anyways. Yeah, here's the latest radar scan. Again, rotation's really dying out on this thing. I think this tornado warning will probably be let to expire at this point. Again, I will stay on the storm and see if anything happens here, but this tornado warning is in Ellis County and very far southern Dallas County. And it includes Waxahachie, Oakleaf. This is a zoomed out look. It's that pink box that you see there. In case you need a little bit of help with the location. Some pink in Cleburne, unless I am mistaken. I'm not seeing any pink. If there's any pink, it just means heavy rainfall at this point. Maybe a little bit of small hail. That'd be about it. There's a big dust devil. It looks pretty big. Further reminder, by the way, again, if you're just tuning in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon. Again, we go live quite often. We'll keep you posted with the latest on the severe weather threat. And again, this is a tornado warning currently in parts of northern Ellis County. Dallas County is no longer included in this. They have basically condensed the tornado warning so that it no longer includes Dallas County, and it no longer includes Ferris. So, as of right now, it still includes Waxahachie, Garrett, Ennis, and Palmer, Pecan Hill, and Oak Leaf. Lots of heavy rain with this. I don't think we're going to get a new tornado warning past this unless the rotation really intensifies out of nowhere. But right now, I believe this outflow boundary is really kicking in right now, and I don't think it's going to be able to organize itself again. So we'll see. But right now, it's definitely weakening out as of right now in terms of the rotation. I'm going to really quickly take a quick bathroom break. I'll be back in about 30 to 45 seconds. Stay tuned, and we'll be back and see if there's any other updates on this. Alright, I'm back. That was the first time I've gotten up in about a 3-hour live stream. That's crazy. There might have been a brief tornado near Blum, Texas about 16 minutes ago or so, but it's kind of hard to tell. I'll have to look back at it. Let me check real quick. Back to Blum. At the very beginning of the cycle. I kind of look at Blum here. There might have been something brief there. It's just too hard to tell with the way that this goes too fast for me. I would have to look back at it, but yeah, there might have been something brief. It's pretty low chance I would say anything actually happened there. Now, that was likely... That might have been a gust tornado, too. Again, I would have to look back at that one, too. Let me check real quick, actually. Let's see. Just because it's kicking up dust doesn't mean it was a dust devil, but... that looks like a dust devil. And that literally picked up an entire playset. Feel bad for whoever that was. There was a trampoline that got sent into somebody's house, too. This is the trampoline, by the way. The flying trampoline. This went right into somebody's house. This is a trampoline, yes, right here. And a pole went right through their roof. Crazy stuff. Crazy, I tell you. I was in the DFW Metroplex this evening. So I'll be posting that to Facebook in case you want to see a more in-depth photo of that. This tornado warning will probably be canceled. I'm surprised it hasn't yet. There really isn't any rotation left with this thing. More of a wind threat at this point. Got poured water? Thanks, Deanna. I appreciate it. Glad you enjoy the channel. Flying trampolines are pretty crazy, I have to say. Post that to Facebook. How's Irving for the rest of the night? Irving will be mainly rain. You know, if you're anywhere in the DFW Metroplex, it's going to be mainly a rain threat from here on out, which really isn't a threat, but that'll be the main concern from here on out. Maybe a little bit of rumbles of thunder, but it's again, not going to be anything too crazy. Something real quick. Here's the latest radar scan. Again, this tornado warning probably going to be canceled. Rotation's overall pretty weak on this at this point. I do think this one will probably be canceled. And after this tornado warning it ends up being either expires or cancels, I'll probably go ahead and sign off for the night. Because overall, I think the activity from here on out is mainly damaging winds. And I have an exam on Friday. I have to really study for that. Water vehicle rescues in Dallas. Yeah, again, I'm not surprised. The amount of rain that's been falling there is just crazy, especially in those low-lying areas. There's a lot of them in North Texas, or in the that area, particularly in like in the DFW area, a lot of low-lying areas. Severe thunderstorm watch has been expanded for the Palestine area as well. Yeah, and damaging winds the main concern from here on out, but again, maybe a brief tornado as well. Is Waxahachie good? I would still stay in your safe place if you're in Waxahachie for at least the next few minutes. Again, I'm not seeing a whole lot of rotation here at this point, but still stay in your safe place for the next few minutes, just in case there's damaging winds that pick up out of that. Yeah, major tornadoes or strong tornadoes really weren't really in the forecast, but we definitely I do think we saw a tornado back near Midlothian a little while ago. Again, it'll probably be investigated tomorrow is my guess if we have any damage reports, but there was some pretty strong rotation there for the time that it happened at. Severe updates for tomorrow. There will not be any severe weather tomorrow. If there is any, it's going to be very isolated. There might, like, maybe a low-end damaging wind risk in parts of southern Texas, but it's going to be very low if there is any. After today, we're going to have that strong cold front. Big pattern change coming. Again, the temperatures going into Saturday morning for North Texas will be down into the 50s and 40s. 46 in Paris, Texas, on Saturday morning. Freezing temperatures will be possible in parts of the Great Plains as well. So, you're going to get pretty chilly. Chilly for some areas. You have to grab that fleece jacket. Strong tornado is EF2 or greater. Thank you, Kem, for the very generous $20 super chat. I appreciate that a lot, Kem. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Let's get some hearts in the chat for Kem. I really do appreciate your generosity. Thank you. Have a great night, JD. Appreciate you tuning in as well. There's ingredients for a strong tornado, but the amount of storms that are out there, it just makes it very difficult for that to even happen. And the low-level jet isn't overly strong tonight either. It really is not in a favorable position. Yeah, just kind of get the values here real quick of that low-level jet. Which, again, the low-level jet helps to rotate supercells. Yeah, it's quite weak tonight. I mean, we were looking at a low-level jet around 30 to 35 knots. That's on the weaker side of things overall. And with a low-level jet that weak, I mean, we could sometimes see an isolated tornado, but it's not much. But the only positive for a tornado risk in this situation, you know, for a tornado to develop, it was more of a southwesterly flow. I mean, it was like west in some spots, southwesterly. Usually when we have a southwesterly flow, that promotes the greatest tornado risk. So we did have that, but it was very spotty and it wasn't very strong for the most part. Pembroke is getting hammered with hail right now? Really? Must be on the smaller side. Really isn't any significant hailstorms in this area. It would be more of the small variety of hail at this point. No problem, Rogue. Appreciate you tuning in. Midlothian must be a tornado magnet. 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago. Yeah, it's a pretty common spot for tornadoes. They're usually not very strong, but I have in recent history at least heard of at least 1 or 2 tornadoes that have happened there. Been pretty active there. To be honest with you, Fort Worth has been very active recently. Had some pretty large hailstorms there. Not really any tornadoes, but hailstorms have been very active there for sure. A weird pink sky over in Seagoville tonight. Not sure what that was from. Thanks, Ski. Appreciate it. Thank you, DTX for the $4.99. Sent you an email with storm damage in White Settlements. I will have to check my spam folder. I have not gotten any notifications, I don't think, recently. Let me double check. I do appreciate your $4.99 as well. I have a couple of different emails. There's some pretty large hail in Poolfield tonight. Oh, I see it. Yeah, that went to my spam. Is that a porta potty flipped over? Jeez. Actually, I had multiple emails go to my spam. Including a random car ad. Not even relevant. I appreciate you sending those in. Thank you. Oh, there's your trailer? Jeez. Hope it's not broken. How's Corsicana looking for tonight? Corsicana is still a good 30 minutes from these storms, maybe 45 minutes. It's going to be mainly a damaging wind threat with a light show coming your way. That's about it, though. Be prepared for damaging winds, maybe some sporadic hail. Have a tornado action plan in place just in case, even though the threat is at this point very low. And as of right now, rotation remaining on the weaker side of things. Yeah, it's still pretty weak here. I'm going to check and see if we have any other updates on the storm relative velocity as well. And yeah, it's pretty weak. The rotation's very weak here, even though it might look a little bit stronger. Again, if there were to be a tornado, it'd be located right in here. It's just not there. It's very weak rotation right now. Still stay in your safe place if you're in Garrett, Palmer, or Ennis, but overall the rotation, again, much weaker than before. Continues to kind of weaken out here at this point. South Metro Weather just lost power. Actually, I know who he is. I've it's funny enough. I don't really pay attention to a whole lot of weather people. I've seen him pop up before though. My feed is green screen. It's pretty cool. I have a green screen of my own, just not here. I've used it before. I appreciate it, Ryan. I'm glad you enjoy the page, and I'm glad I can help you out. Trust me, I put a ton of work into the Facebook page. I honestly, I spent a lot more time on Facebook than YouTube in a lot of cases when it comes to, you know, weather. It's just, you know, I don't know why. I just, you know, I have a lot, like, I don't have that much time. It's just like, it's all condensed into a lot of things. Full-time college, doing Facebook and YouTube pretty much full-time, and it's busy. Busy, busy. Anything after this line of storms? Just rain. Again, it's just rain. Not really looking at any severe weather after the line. After this initial line goes by, it's heavy rain, maybe a little bit of a couple rumbles of thunder. That's about it. Yeah, I'd be live on Facebook too, but again, I had a problem in the past, earlier this spring, where I was live on Facebook and I was posting frequently, like I have been, again, I do a lot of multitasking, and for whatever reason, I got banned on Facebook for spam. And after about 24 hours, I got my page back. But, like, it was just so random. And apparently, like, I was banned for spam on my live stream. It was a weird thing. So, I basically moved live streams over to YouTube exclusively now. I don't do Facebook streams anymore. I would love to do Facebook streams, but I just don't trust, you know, getting banned again for, you know, quote-unquote spam when it's obviously not spam. It was just kind of one of those weird things where the AI must have picked up on something, because there was no way that was a human that, you know, had that happen. Just very random. I appreciate Caitlin. Here's the latest radar scan. Again, very weak rotation. Storm is going toward Palmer. Garrett, the tornado warning expires in 2 minutes. So we'll see if they issue a new warning on this or not. I appreciate it, Real. Glad you enjoy it. What happened on the Facebook page? Again, that was back in the early spring. It just, basically, I got banned, and I got back after, like, 24 hours. It was a weird thing. Again, it was totally out of nowhere. I was live streaming when that happened. But, yeah, basically, for now on, I'm just doing live streams on YouTube. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. It just hasn't popped up on here yet. It flashed a couple times, but it should be back up here in a second. Here we go. New severe thunderstorm warning for those in Ennis, Gun Barrel City, Kemp, Cairns, and Rice. That is for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds, quarter-sized hail. Tornado threat is pretty much done with this for the time being. So, one more minute on the tornado warning, and then we are done with that. Actually, it is now 10:30. Apparently. There you go. No tornado warning anymore, so we are no longer in any tornado warnings. The severe thunderstorm warnings are still ongoing. This severe thunderstorm button does not want to work, so I have to click this. There we go. But yeah, it's just severe thunderstorm warnings now, damaging winds, lightning, the main concerns at this point. But that's going to do it for today's live stream, because I am getting tired and I have to study and stuff, so I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, this live stream today was brought to you by Radar Omega. We've been using that throughout the entire live stream. If you want a all-in-one Radar app for your iOS or Android device. Download it with the top link in the description below. I can't recommend it enough. It is so worth it. Check it out. Again, Radar Omega, that's what we've been using throughout this entire live stream. It has computer models, live radar, satellite imagery, all that sort of stuff. Check it out, top link in the description below. If you enjoyed this live stream today, if you did something as simple as subscribing or liking the stream, I appreciate you a lot. If you want to support the page above and beyond, you can become a member for as little as $2.99 a month. And click the join button down below or the top link or one of the top links in the description below if you want to support a page above and beyond. You can also donate to the page. Those links are in the description below. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those links as well in the description below. Yeah, if you enjoyed today's stream, I would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. Helps the page out a lot. And again, you become a member if you want to support the page above and beyond. I appreciate you guys all tuning in. I don't know when our next live stream will be. Again, severe weather's been pretty sporadic recently, so maybe something in a week or two. But for right now, this will probably be our last live stream, at least through the weekend. And that's it for today. I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Have a great, safe rest of your night. And we will see you guys all again very, very soon. And I'll probably have a video. I might not have a video tomorrow, but I'll at least have one by Friday on the weather pattern. Appreciate you guys all tuning in. See you guys all again soon.